Awesome. The recording started. All right. The time is 6:37. My name is Quentin Meziton, CEC President, and I'm calling this meeting to order. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming. And at first, I would like to have the Spanish interpreters please announce yourselves and put your information in the chat.
Hola, hola, muy buenas tardes, damas y caballeros. En esta reunión les ofrecemos un servicio de interpretación simultánea del inglés al español. Si desean escuchar en español, tendrán que llamar por teléfono marcando el número siguiente, 347-966-4114, e ingresar a continuación el siguiente código de conferencia, 372-142-601, símbolo numeral. Repito, para escuchar la interpretación al español por teléfono, llamen al 347-966-4114 e ingresen el código de conferencia 372-142-601, símbolo numeral. Al llamar, les pedimos que por favor silencien los micrófonos de todos sus dispositivos para evitar ruidos de fondo o ecos durante la interpretación. Esta información también la pueden encontrar en el chat. Muchas gracias. Thank you. End of announcement.
Thank you for that. All right, everyone. It is February 5th. We made it past the first month, and I would like to start this meeting with gratitude. As president of the best district in the city, the largest, the most amazing, the top schools, the top principals, the top staff, the top everything. Do you see what our students are doing? We are topping everything. I couldn't be more proud of my administrative assistant and this phenomenal council. So I just want to take this time to acknowledge the council members for all their hard work behind the scenes, on the phone calls, on the Zooms, reading the books, reading the logs, and following up on emails, and doing everything you can as volunteer parent leaders elected to just make sure that we continue to thrive. So thank you so much for all of that. And you guys know it. And we have a phenomenal district that supports us to do all of that. So, so outside of just being grateful, I just want to bring that energy to start the meeting today because we have so much to be grateful for. We do watch the news, so we are aware of all the things that are happening in this world that's impacting the lives of so many of us and our families and our neighbors and our community and our children. And we don't want to act like that's not happening because we are doing everything we can and we have the support of the schools, of the district to help empower us to please just share you guys information to help support everyone that could be affected by what's going on. And if there's anything that concerns anyone, please send us an email, send us a message, contact us, and we will definitely see how we can support you and your family in the best way possible in these times that we're living in. We have a new mayor, we have a new chancellor, we have a lot of snow on the ground. A lot of stuff is happening at the same time, but we made it here, especially our district. We come in person, and we all made it here safely to support you and highlight all the good things happening. So without further, before, yeah, before I even start everything, now that we're all in our seats and we're all here prepared, warm and safe, I'm gonna have our recording secretary do our roll call. Chantel Chambers.
Dorinda. Good evening, everyone. Tonight's roll call. First, we have our first Vice President, Lauren Clavin. Present. We have our second Vice President, Jennifer Sobers. Here. Recording Secretary, Chantel Chambers. I'm here. Treasurer, Alicia Bauer. Here. Members, Lou Zhao. Here. Annie Koch. Present. Kenya Townsend. Present. Paquita Williams. Present. Eric Gretsch. Not here. And our newest member, Cicely Chu. Right here. Welcome. And our wonderful President Clinton Messenger.
Here. And as you just heard, our newest member, Cicely Chu, I want to take this time to give her a minute as this is her first meeting after being elected our last meeting, joining us in person on our council, bringing that phenomenal energy that she brought in that interview here in person. Cicely, please give us a minute of who you are and what makes you so great.
Thank you so much. So this is actually the first meeting that I'm joining, and I am so excited. I'm taking the chance to learn, so please be patient with me. I'm gonna be learning and contribute my time to this community, and also try to learn from all the council members and move forward with my assignments. So excited to just take a step back and learn from everyone here and push this community forward. Thank you, guys.
Drop. Thank you, Cicely. Next, I would like to bring our wonderful Superintendent, Dr. Blake, give us his presentation this evening. Dr. Blake.
Good evening, everyone. Let me just share this with you. Let me see. I'm trying to share this challenges with this thing. All left. Just give me a second. I'm trying to share. My goodness, why is it not sharing? Wait a second. I just hold on. All right, let me know if you're seeing it.
Yes. Yes.
All right, so good evening, everyone. Just want to share this with you. Welcome to another of our meetings, and we're very privileged to be here. Just want to welcome all the families, the newest member of the CEC, who was just mentioned. Welcome to the District 28 Education Council, and also to all the principals and families on the call tonight. As usual, our mission is to create excellent opportunities for all our scholars so that they can be learning at very high levels, beginning also with school leaders, teachers, students, community partners. We cannot do this alone. We have to be in partnership with the entire community. So in our community, District 28, we celebrate differences because we recognize that there's diversity and we are beautifully diverse. And because of that, we have a lot to tap into in terms of resources. But it all boils down to improving our youngsters' lives. Those are the four pillars that I've been lifting up throughout my tenure here. It's about improvements, outcomes in mathematics, literacy skills, work to sustain the presence of our students in the school, so to reduce chronic absenteeism, as well as to engage community as partners. We have non-negotiables in District 28. Those are non-negotiables for our leaders, our teachers in the school, leaders. Everything must be standard aligned instruction, where it has to be grade level. Small group instruction is what we're pushing in the district. Explicit teaching and gradual release, where the teachers model for students, guide them, then release responsibility for independent practice and to check for understanding. Active student engagement is also one of the pillars that we're lifting up, where students are actively engaged by inquiry through discussions, questioning, and checks for understanding. And everything must be based on the data. Every child learns differently, and we're here to adjust the needs of our instruction to fit the needs of every child in the district. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Look at me. Let's give me a second, please. This thing just jump right up. Sorry about that. Let me see if I...
Dr. Blake, do you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, yes. Go ahead. I'm having some technical challenges here. Go ahead. Thank you. Let me stop. Presentation mode. All right, so today, District 28 extends our heartiest thanks to Chancellor Kamar Samuels and his team for visiting one of my schools, PS 303, and spending time with scholars, families. It was a full packed house. We're deeply grateful to all of our District 28 stakeholders. The students were there, parents, staff, SLT, PTA, CEC, PEP, and elected officials whose partnership and presence made the visit very, very meaningful. He was very impressed with the sense of community in District 28. We continue to strengthen this community partnership. So he was very impressed. Some of those are the pictures that capture the moment. I invited everybody there, CSA, UFT, almost every member of the community was represented there, and he was the chancellor left fully satisfied. Next slide, please. So our protocols, we are, and as Quinton opened up the meeting, that whatever happens in our district is happening in society. We're not oblivious of those. And we believe that we're talking about ICE, the New York City Public Schools, the mayor's office, and District 28, we take the safety and rights of all students extremely seriously, especially regarding non-local law enforcement and ICE in particular, right? So schools, just the DOE policy, just to reiterate to the families and the community that schools remain protected spaces, and ICE or other non-local agencies are not permitted to enter unless legally required with a valid judicial warrant, which must be reviewed by our senior field counsel. Every district has a senior field counsel, has to be reviewed by them before any action is taken. If such personnel appear to staff, we have to follow the strict DOE protocols to keep officers outside. Notifying leadership, the principals, and ensure that no student is questioned or detained. District 28 continues to reinforce these protections through the principal training. Principals are trained to respond to those. So we're not oblivious. We are part and parcel, of course. My accent, I'm from an immigrant community as well. So we take the safety of everyone very seriously. So the DOE's policy is what District 28 has to abide by, because we're not an agency by ourselves. We're part of the bigger system, the ecosystem of the Department of Education, New York City Public Schools. So just want to reiterate that the families, principals are trained, schools are alerted to respond appropriately to protect our youngest scholars, and all of them, right, K through 8 or pre-K, everybody in District 28. So that's my priority, and that's our top priority. Thanks. Next slide, please. That's what they sent us on the shout out that there was a national study conducted by this company known as 74, which is a nonprofit covering education nationwide. They examined 41,883 schools and identify the ones whose third grade, because the third grade reading level proficiency is what they look at, that they have exceeded expectations based on poverty levels. So you might not see poverty levels, right? That in spite of the Title I designation, these schools are beating the odds, are doing very well. I'm pleased to announce that our District 28 stands out with 21 schools represented, showcasing exceptional early literacy results and a deep commitment to helping the young readers to thrive. Yes, a lot of kudos, with early reading strongly linked to long-term academic success. If the child learns well to read in third grade, academic success is almost guaranteed. This recognition underscores a powerful work happening across our district school community. I'd like to shout out some of these schools: 121, 303, 101, 144, 174, 99, PS 140, 48, 55, 54, 80, 161, PS 160, 312, 40, 50, 86, 175, 139, and 349. The others who might not have heard their name, you're still doing very, very well, excelling at 196 because your poverty level, like it's still adjusted. So all our schools are doing very well. Some districts are lucky to have one mention. We have several. So I just want to say kudos to the great leaders on the call tonight, the principals and the teachers who are leading this work. Okay, District 28 celebrates Black History Month. Elementary and middle schools are celebrating this through bringing Black studies curriculum to life, ensuring that all students see their history, see themselves reflected in the history, in their daily learning. We are proud to extend these lessons into the community by partnering with the 12 MBK, my brother's keeper, my sister's keeper, MSK schools, for gratitude events that foster real-world connection and service. And it's our job to sort of extend this learning. And also, just want to say that we are very proud that District 20 was called recently to be honored to sort of lift us up in terms of our commitment to women, minority in business, women and minority owned business part enterprise. District 20 is proud to be honored as one of the 5 districts citywide to meet its NWBE utilization target. Our team remains committed to deepening engagement with MWBE certified vendors by strengthening community partnerships. So I just want to thank the entire team. Former Superintendent, special thanks to Dr. Tammy Pate and her team for their steadfast leadership and support in this important work. And District 28, as was the picture there, receiving the award on behalf of the district, the great work that the team has done, the district team, and everybody support that work. So yesterday was World Read Aloud Day at PS, all over, but at PS22, District 28 schools proudly celebrate World Read Aloud Day with members of the district team visiting classrooms to read with students and highlighting the joy of storytelling, right? Narrating this collective effort reinforce the district's commitment to literacy and community engagement. So those are some of the pictures there that we're really lifting up read literacy and also numeracy, of course. Respect for All Week is February 9th through the 13th. District 28 again will observe Respect for All Week. Schools will promote kindness, empathy, joy, diversity, and anti-bullying efforts. District and superintendent, my team, will visit schools to support those activities, and students, again, will participate in assemblies and discussions on identity and inclusion. Very, very important to us at District 28. District 28 Community Resource Fair was held at PS 82. The heart of the Community Resource Fair at that school welcomed families and community partners for having a vibrant resource fair filled with essential services that support well-being, learning, and family engagement. District Family Leadership Coordinator Sonia Roeder is to be applauded for that. She joined the event, proudly supporting the families and representing District 28 with real dedication. So on behalf of Sonia and the families, parent coordinators, all the teachers and the families, leaders, I want to say, let's keep it going. Let's keep District 28 as a beacon of, of excellence in our district. 2026 Queens Tech and Career Expo, District 28 was proud to join the QBP. Queens Bar President Donovan Richards last week, and on Saturday I was there at the Hall of Science to receive at least 100 to oversee, to comment, 100 of our neediest families got received brand new laptops, expanding access to technology and across our community, because we know that there's a technology divide. And of course, our neediest families were selected. I formed the partnership with AT&T, and we're saying to them, this is just the beginning, because I want to see schools right across the district benefit from technology. So we want to thank the QBP, Queens Bar President Donovan Richards Jr., for his continued support of our community and other elected officials as well. Thank you very much for your listening to this presentation. This is a great work that we're doing. I want to say again, it could not be done without the great team of leaders at the district, and the principals are working very hard, and the entire committee. So I want to thank you very much for that. Good night.
Thank you, Superintendent Dr. Blake. And I also attended that special expo at the New York Hall of Science. It was phenomenal. brought my kids. It was great. I was so tired. All right. Next, I would like to bring up our first vice president just to restate something she put in the chat. Lauren Clapp.
Good evening, everyone. I'm just reminding folks that if if a member of the public wishes to speak, please just type the word speak in the chat. You have until 7:30 to sign up. Thank you so much. And our chat is open. It will remain open. And we're just reminding folks to be respectful in the chat. We do not accept hateful comments of any kind, and we'll close the chat if we have to. Thank you so much.
Thank you, First Vice President. And before we go to our next presenter, I would like to acknowledge the awareness highlights of this month. This month is Black History Month, something that the focus on the 2026 theme is a century of Black history commemorations. It is also American Heart Month. It is Age-Related Macular Degeneration and Low Vision Awareness Month. It is National Cancer Prevention Month. And it's Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. February 1st was National Freedom Day. February 7th to 14th is Congenital Heart Defect Awareness Day week. February 13th is Shine a Light on Slavery Day. February 14th is National Donor Day. February 15th is Shivaratri, which is reflecting on the Hindu community. February 15th is Nirvana Day, which is for the Buddhist community. And February 17th is Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year. And February 17th to March 19th is Ramadan will be observed. And as a council, we'll just try our best to finish out that meeting early in March just to pay respect to our Muslim community. February 18th is Ash Wednesday, where Lent begins for Christians. And February 20th is National Caregivers Day. February 22nd is National Heart Valve Disease Awareness Day. February 23rd to March 1st is National Eating Disorders Awareness Week. And February 28th is Rare Disease Day. And other notable designations in February include Youth Mental Health Awareness Month and National Self-Check Month and National Heart Month. Wow. And we also have our winter recess. A lot to consider. Now, next on our agenda is I'd like to bring up Amanda Renee, with the presentation by STEM.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Amanda,
Good
are you
evening.
ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Can you hear me? Perfect. All right, I'm going to share my screen and we'll get started. Thank you all for having us today. My name's Amanda Bueno Renee. I am a math instructional lead at the STEM department at Central, part of New York City Public Schools, supporting New York City Solves. And I'm here joined by my colleague, Kathy, if you want to introduce yourself. All right. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Could we?
yeah, I can unmute now. I didn't have access to
Sorry
unmute.
about that.
I was trying to unmute. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Kathy Grandchamps, and I'm a math instructional lead, also on the STEM team working on the NYC Solves initiative alongside Amanda.
And we're here just to give you all an overview of what New York City Solves is, what we do, why we do it, and how we do it, especially because District 28 will be joining the New York Solves initiative this coming September. So This is a little bit about why New York City Solves is an initiative at the DOE and why we need it. This is our reality. Currently, we're preparing students for jobs that don't yet exist, right? Jobs that we don't even know about, we can't even imagine. Um, and we know that what employers are looking for is they're looking for problem solvers, people who are creative thinkers, who are resilient and flexible, who think critically and can collaborate with other people and can adapt and solve for problems that we don't even know exist yet. And so when we think about math instruction and how we're supporting our students as mathematicians, we want to make sure that we are helping our students become these types of thinkers, not just people who can maybe memorize formulas or algorithms and repeat, but can really be presented with a problem, work with other people to think critically and solve that in collaboration. Um, and so, what New York City Solves aims to do is similar to what Dr. Blake mentioned earlier. We want all students to be engaged with grade level content in mathematics every day. And so, we're moving away from math that maybe similar to how, definitely how I learned it, maybe similar to how some of us on this call learned it, as a series of procedures that we were asked to demonstrate and repeat toward being mathematicians who can discover phenomenon, who can find meaning in patterns and make conjectures, right? And connect big ideas.
So, why shift instructional practice? We're going to talk a little bit about that now. The ways we have traditionally taught math do not work when across New York City, if we're looking at the data, we know that a majority of middle and high school students are not meeting grade level proficiency in math. The harsh truth is that 2/3 of Black and Latino students are not performing at grade level in mathematics. Our students in temporary housing and other students who have formal gaps in their education are falling significantly behind. Students of color, our students living in poverty, our students with disabilities and multilingual learners are scoring, a lot of them are scoring well below our citywide average, which wasn't really all that high to begin with. We know that the traditional ways that math has been taught also don't work when we have educators that profess, and a lot of people, parents, families, sometimes that profess that they're not math people, yet no one really feels comfortable saying that they're not reading people.
And so, one of the ways we've been working to change that narrative is through our math shifts. So, New York City Public Schools has 5 math shifts. And right now, we're going to engage in a math task together that will demonstrate some of those shifts. So, it's a visual math task. I want you to take a look at the grid or the checkerboard that is on the screen and just think independently, how many squares are on this checkerboard? And we can drop in the chat.
We had someone say 64, a lot of plus ones and thumbs up. Someone said 65. Okay. So somebody's looking at it and seeing some others, something else there, another square possibly, another 64. Anyone see more than 65 squares? I see some chatter happening in the main room. Feel free to come off mute if you have the ability to share. Someone said 90. Interestingly enough, someone said a lot. Okay. We're getting there. We're definitely more than 65, definitely more than 90. I'm interested if the person who said 65 is in the room or has the ability to unmute. would talk to us about how they got 65 or whether they think they're even more, where would they see them? Was that you, Quentin?
I said 65 because I just
Okay.
counted how many squares were on, from left to right, and then count how many squares down and multiplied that. And I got 64, and then they were all sitting in the square that I mentioned was 65. Then
So
now
this
that you're talking about
large
there's way
square,
more and I'm off, I'm thinking I got to make squares out of each four, which would just kind of complicate things a little bit, but
yeah, I'm
not
trying to
impossible.
annotate.
And then
Are
I
you,
can make other squares
is this your
based on
fort,
if I
Quentin?
did that again. So yeah, so I could see we might be here for a while.
Yeah, we might be thinking for a while. We might be having like different strategies for a while to think about the different math patterns that exist. And the way you may see it may be different than your peer may see it. And we could possibly come to a similar understanding. Someone said 204 squares. So that person who actually said 204 squares is like pretty much on target. But this is not about necessarily getting the answer fast. It is more about the process. And I wish that person can come off mute or share in the chat how they came to 204 squares. But essentially, this is the type of math experiences that we want for our students, right? Amanda?
Yep, I'm trying to stop annotating. I was having fun drawing. Oh, how do I get rid of that stuff?
I think you can.
I'm sure I
Delete.
can.
Ah, somebody said I just Googled it.
Oh,
That's that's
well,
really
I
funny.
know how to do that too. So,
Oh,
is this the next slide, Kathy, or am
no, I think
I
you
skipped
skipped.
one?
Yeah,
No.
you skipped
Okay,
to
let
the
me see.
shifts.
Yep.
We're gonna go back one.
Yeah, I'm having. There we go.
There
Okay,
we
so the idea behind that task is like some of us started noticing patterns, and from those patterns, we start making rules or conjectures. And from that, that's really where formulas that we learned maybe in school are derived from that kind of thinking. And so the idea is we're moving from beginning with modeling, where the teacher kind of just says, well, here's this formula, the quadratic formula, right? Something like that. To having students actually begin with sense making. So giving students maybe a visual task like the one we just engaged with and asking them to make sense of it. What do you see? What do you notice? What are some patterns jumping out to you? How can we make meaning of those patterns? Shift two moves from different tasks based on prior performance, or what we used to call as differentiation, to everyone having access to a shared grade level task that is low floor, meaning we all have access to at least enter and try something, to high ceiling, where maybe someone who is ready to kind of take that next step can come up with a rule or a formula to explain that pattern in that square checkerboard, for example. Shift three is moving away from discourse just to show what you know, right? To discourse amongst each other to start developing understanding of the math. Shift four moves from deficit-based support to asset-based support. Our students come in with so much knowledge, so many lived experiences. How do we leverage their strengths to support them? And then the final shift is moving from a variety of sources that maybe teachers are pulling from different places to create lessons to having one shared high quality curriculum as a district.
So, as we look at this visual here, we see a roadmap. And at the beginning of the roadmap is high quality instructional materials. We think that high quality instructional materials are a necessary but insufficient first step in the goal. The ultimate goal is for our students to graduate NYCPS with rewarding careers, economic security, and to be a positive force for change, having the skills that they need to be successful in their careers and in their communities. In order to get there, some of the goalposts along the way are realizing a math experience that has shifted, as described by Amanda before, not just from mimicry and or memorization, but beginning with sense making on tasks that are open enough so that they can approach them from a multitude of standpoints. Because shifting math in this way leads to equitable instruction and gives students the skill sets that they need, as described in that first slide, to be adaptable, flexible, the ability to collaborate, and to be critical, innovative thinkers. If we can go to the next slide, please. So the skills that we talk about are critical thinking, collaboration, flexibility, problem solving, communication. When we look at these high quality instructional materials, it is not about abandoning the basics. It is not about removing any teacher guidance. As a matter of fact, the teacher circulates and utilizes student thinking to synthesize their thinking in order to like really consolidate what it is that they have come up with in order to formalize their understanding. It is also not about lowering the standards. Next slide.
And so as a district, you all will receive a lot of support as being part of New York City Solves. So teachers who are new to the curriculum, which will be most teachers, right? Next year will receive a lots of in-person professional learning, both from the curriculum and from the district staff, instructional leads who I know are in the room today. I saw some of you. They will also be receiving in-person coaching at their schools, where math coaches will be pushing in to support the implementation of not just the curriculum, like Kathy said, but providing instruction that is aligned to those 5 NYCPS math shifts that we talked about. And again, so that's with a job embedded support coaching provider or an outside organization that many of them that we partner with have been coaching mathematics in New York City public schools for decades. Principals and assistant principals will also receive supports at their principals conferences and assistant principals conferences, but also professional learning from the curriculum vendors and the coaching providers to just really think about how are we supporting teachers in shifting practice. And then finally, events or like nights like tonight where we can speak to family and the community and really talk about how do you all support your students as our middle schools in District 28 begin to be part of New York City Solves. And one way is just asking your child open-ended questions about the math that they're doing. So things like, how did you solve it? What strategy did you try? What did someone else think? Try it another way, rather than us maybe saying, well, this is how I learned it. But really giving them the opportunity to solve and discover and explore. And yeah, we're going to end it here. I haven't been looking at the chat, Kathy, so I don't know if we have questions, but I will stop sharing.
So yeah, there's an invitation for anyone to type speak if they wanted to speak.
Got it.
And we also had a participant share that students also Google things as well. Absolutely, there's no getting around that. It's important for students to understand, though, that there's no substitute for understanding things because whether it is, in their classes, in life, they need some problem solving skills to kind of navigate this world, to understand, what is happening with finances, to advocate for political fairness, for a multitude of things, for achievement, essentially. So someone asked, what is the name of the curriculum?
So first, I see the question about the chancellor modifying. So Chancellor Samuels, who I worked with closely because District 3 is the district Chancellor Samuels just left, and he was superintendent of that district. District 3 is also joining New York City Solves next year with District 28. And so part of it is this urgency around fluency and what are we doing in the younger elementary grades to really support. Right now, New York City Solves started from high school, and now we're moving into middle schools. And slowly now we will be moving into elementary schools. Whereas New York City Reads, the literacy counterpart, started at the elementary school level and is working its way up. And so what the chancellor is speaking to is, we really need our elementary schools to have that conceptual understanding, that foundation, and really target fluency so that our middle schools and high schools could be more successful. And we agree, and we're working closely with him to make sure that we remain aligned to his vision now that he is chancellor and a former math teacher, so he really gets it. And then the curriculum, as a city, we support 3 different curricular options. And so your district has been engaging in exploring all of them, visiting other schools that are implementing them. Teachers have been visiting, assistant principals. Your superintendent has been very engaged in this. And so as a district, they will come up with they will choose one of those 3 curricular options.
So there's a question here about whether we'll be abandoning memorization, for example. Will there not be a focus or encouragement on learning the multiplication tables? And the thing is, so there's no abandonment. It is important for conceptual understanding to occur, though. So students could know tables, but not really understand what the tables represent. In other words, we are thinking about grouping of numbers. When we're doing multiplication, we're essentially doing repeated addition. And we need to understand that there are groups that are being added, almost like skip counting. And when students can move flexibly between different representations to understand why that table works, that is the deeper understanding that we seek. When they can move from visual, physical, symbolic, verbal, and contextual understanding, then we have students who firmly understand why the numbers in that table work. Now, you become fluent, if you will, in something when you can make that jump from different representations. If you're just recalling it from memorization, but you don't deeply understand why it works, when the contexts change, sometimes it becomes harder for recall. So that is something that we want to build in students. The more they build their conceptual understanding, the more fluid and fluent they will become because they've had more opportunities to fully understand and engage with why those numbers work. So it's more about the depth of why than just memorizing it.
I think that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we want to thank you for having us and for having.
There were more questions. We just thought you were
Oh,
going to the next
okay. Oh, I see. What successes have you seen at the high school level? I know, Kathy, maybe you could speak to that a little more as you support high school.
So we're definitely seeing an increase in student discussion during classroom engagement. I would say that students have moved from just speaking at the end of a lesson after, everything has been modeled to actually speaking as they're developing their understanding about a topic. In other words, when teachers are releasing the room a little earlier for, let's say there's a task and they've given students some time to sense make, they invite students to do a turn and talk. And as students are sharing their different strategies with one another, they are increasing their understanding about the topic in ways that we have not seen before. We've seen an increase in constructed response, students answering constructed response questions, where a lot of times, sometimes students have left them blank. And I believe that to be because of the instructional routines that are baked into the various high quality instructional materials like the three reads, which really gives students an opportunity to understand the context of the problem, the numbers in the problem, how the quantities are behaving, and also the relationships between those quantities. So it's giving students an opportunity to want to try problems that they have not really tried before. So I can say that in terms of what I've seen across high schools. And I'm also seeing an impetus in teachers to lean in and understand the assets that students bring to the classroom by finding ways to bring in their context into some of the problems that they're approaching. And I find that that's also been helping students a lot. Also, what about what is this? What about
I was trying to answer as
saying
many.
illustrative math? I think that's saying illustrative math. Is it not promoted anymore? So illustrative math is one of our, if this is asking about illustrative math is definitely one of our core curriculum. There are three core curriculums that can be chosen for middle school. It's illustrative mathematics, iReady, and amplified Desmos math.
I was answering some questions in the chat while you were
Okay.
talking about the high school. And then we're already seeing some of this done in elementary school. For example, with learning multiplication, what difference does NYC Solves add to that?
Yeah, so somebody asked about is the curriculum changing because there's a new chancellor? So the core curriculums were introduced from the previous chancellor. There was an
Thanks.
emphasis from the previous chancellor, Chancellor Banks. There was an intention to try to have shared high quality instructional materials for both reads and also for math, NYC Solves. And the rationale behind that is if if teachers are finding curriculum resources from a variety of places, it is quite possible that students in some classrooms even in the same district could possibly have a totally different learning experience than other students. And it's an equity issue, and it becomes very hard to support teachers who have a vast varied amount of curriculum resources. Now, with let's say once a district actually has one curricular resource, it is much easier for the district and also the central community to support that district in improving teaching outcomes across the district because it's like less of a moving target. And it's teachers can actually spend more time internalizing the lessons and the units because they're not spending as much time trying to select and curate resources. The resources are all in one place. So let's say when they have a how would you say it? Like a math team meeting, let's say, and let's say they meet like once a week or twice a week. That time can be dedicated to internalizing the lesson and to spending time looking at the students' data to see what they can do to support them and also to reflect on how the lessons went and have deeper conversations that can impact implementation in a deeper way rather than them spending time Googling up, trying to find different resources to teach your students that are not necessarily evidence and research based like these curriculums are.
There's a question about improvement in scores. We know that our high school districts who have been doing this work now for 3 and 4 years, they are seeing gains across all of their subgroups. We don't necessarily have data here, but I wonder if that's something we could share with Dr. Blake or with Quentin to share. And then Sasha asks about how we can help, I guess, as parents.
So helping as parents, I mean, it starts with like, if we didn't necessarily have the most positive math experience growing up, you know, just encouraging our students and asking them, what did you learn in math today? How did you solve the problem? Even if you don't understand what it is that they're talking about, the act of students having to regurgitate in their own words how they approach the problem, the context that they learn, the strategies that they use, that in and of itself builds confidence, excitement, and understanding. So we can definitely start there. We never want to start by saying that we're not math people. We want to lean in and listen and smile and be like excited. And sometimes I even remember my mom faking it until she made it. Like she didn't, my mom was an English language learner. She didn't necessarily know what it was that I was learning, but each and every day I had to sit at the kitchen table and give her a report of what it is that I learned. And the act of me regurgitating those facts reinforced what I learned. And it also gave me a clue into the things that I had not mastered. So I had a question to ask the other day, and I felt confident that I could ask that question. So when I think about families, what you all can do to support this is understand that we see your children, we see the trajectory. We know that none of us expected the world to be where it is right now. But one thing we do know is that we don't want your children to approach a door that they can't open because there is an ambiguous problem in front of them that they've not seen before, that they've not been able to memorize, that they didn't have tips and tricks for. We want them to be able to think. That was not necessarily something that was at the forefront before. We want them to, if variables change, they know how to think their way through it. So I think that that's the best way to answer that, Amanda.
And then I think I answered everything else except this last one that just came in about budget. The curriculum is centrally funded. The schools purchase curriculum through something called NISTL funds, which is provided to schools. It is not like an additional cost and won't be a burden. Neither is the coaching that teachers will receive for the next 4 years as they undergo this huge task. We know how hard it is to be in that classroom and to make such a large shift. And so those 4 years of coaching are also paid for centrally through grants. Through things like the Gates Foundation, et cetera. I think I answered every question.
Yeah, I saw that you're doing well.
But you also have 3 wonderful math instructional leads who I communicate with weekly. I will continue to be around to support and as we continue on this journey. This is not like one and done. This is just like an intro and a taste.
And thank you, Amanda and Kathy. That was a phenomenal presentation, and thank you for answering all the questions. You could have ran, and you stayed and you answered the questions. I, Kathy, you were explaining them, and Amanda, you were just in the chat. So we appreciate the both of you for coming. The information that you want to share with us, please share the data with us. We'd love to post it on our website for the community. But again, thank you for showing up for NYC Public Schools, and I'm looking forward to the success of our students because I know we'll thrive with anything you throw at us in District 28. All right, and next on our agenda, we have
Quentin,
ESP.
just before you go, may I just say
Okay.
one thing? Just like to let the community know that with the 3 curricular choices, we have been introducing them in District 28, where the teachers and principals are piloting the curriculum. So after that, they will choose. We will come together with the decision of the principals to choose what the right curriculum. Right now, we're doing surveys, and we see one curricular choice is one curriculum choice is outweighing the rest. So we're pretty close to naming the curriculum for middle school. For elementary, we still want to go slow to go fast. So we are looking at it very carefully through a lot of piloting of the program. Just want to let the community knows that. Thank you.
Thank you for the transparency. We appreciate that always. Next, I would like to invite our very own PS54 principal, Patricia Hanley.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you see my presentation? Yes, great. Okay. So thank you for the opportunity to present this evening. My name is Patricia Hanley. I am the proud principal of PS54Q, the Hillside School. We are a K-5 elementary school. Currently, we have 419 students enrolled. We're a very diverse learning community with many different ethnicities. We have 10 different languages spoken in the building. 30% of our students are multilingual learners, and 21% of our students are learners with individualized educational plans. I started the journey with this community 3.5 years ago, and each year we work together to align our priorities to the needs of our students and our families, as well as District 28 priorities and the chancellor's priorities. We are happy to say that over the last several years, our data is on an upward trend. We've gone up 26% in ELA and 26% in math in our state test scores. We have 65% of students scoring at level 3 and 4 and 60 in ELA, and 60% of our students scoring at levels 3 and 4 in math. We've been working really hard on our attendance. To date, our rate is 94%, but this cold weather is kind of killing us. So we got to figure a plan out to make sure that everyone's going to still come out in this freezing cold weather. We attribute the success that we've had so far to date to our staff collaboration and also the support that we receive from others. Dr. Blake and the district team are always available to help us and always willing to help us. Dr. Blake himself attends many of our family engagement activities, and the parents love seeing him. Our CEC rep, Lou Zhao, comes to our SLT meetings. He visits us at school. He asks about our needs and how he can help. And we're also very fortunate to have local leaders who consistently advocate for our school. Councilmember Lynn Schulman awards us funding so that our students are able to participate in the learning gardens, the city parks program. That entails them going out to community gardens in Queens and also an instructor coming in to work with them. It's a 12-week cycle. She also has funded STEM hydroponic kits. Every year, our cultural after-school CASA program. She's just really good to us. This year, Immigrant Initiative, the Cultural Immigrant Initiative, was awarded to us. We were so happy. We also have Queensborough President Donovan Richards. He's come to our graduations and spoken. He's awarded us capital funding for technology upgrades in our building, and we had students receive laptops just this past, I think it was this past Saturday at the Hall of Science. So we are grateful for that. We have lots of great partnerships. I don't have a lot of time, so I'm just going to highlight a few. We partner with Smile NYC. They come to our school 3 times a year, and when they come, they stay for several weeks. This allows students to receive dental care, everything from cleanings to x-rays to fillings, and it's all free for students who don't have health insurance. We also partner with the New York Mets each year in their You Gotta Read program, and this program is designed to build a love of reading and really engage students in reading at home. At the conclusion of the program, students who hit a home run, and you hit a home run by logging 600 minutes of reading, get 2 free tickets to a Met game of their choosing. And every week they get different incentives from the New York Mets. 2 years ago, we were very fortunate. We had Francisco Lindor come do a backpack giveaway with supplies for many of our students. They were super excited. We are really grateful for the Fellowship of Midori and Friends. They provide us with grants that allow our students to have unique opportunities with the arts. In some of these pictures, you'll see students engaged in the Journey to Japan residency. They do Japanese flower arrangements called ikebana. They do calligraphy. Japanese folk dancing. They absolutely love it. We also have a choral residency with Midori and Friends, Midori and Company. They work with our fifth graders last year and this year. This year they'll be having a concert in March. The parents are excited about that. We value our families as truly our best partners. We believe in working together to help our students succeed. That being said, we have a lot of parent engagement. We believe in having the parents in the classroom side by side with our students, learning, writing, publishing celebrations where students present their work and the parents are there for that. STEM activities in kindergarten were just recently happening. They had a lot of fun with the text, the plan for the gingerbread house, and then trying to engineer their own gingerbread house. We have an art show every year where the students' art is displayed throughout the halls. Parents come in and engage in art opportunities. And this year, our Title I funds, our parents decided that they really wanted to learn about ways that they can reduce stress and be better parents for their students. So we have 5 different workshops. This is one that just happened 2 weeks ago. It was a paint and sip, and the parents were very excited and had a wonderful time. Oh, it's not letting me go to the next. Let me try the next slide. Okay. We also have yearly traditions that happen every year that students are excited for and the parents are excited for. We have Career Day where parents do come in and they present their careers. We have community members come in. The NYPD comes and does a lot of work. It's a fun day. Everybody looks forward to it. We close down the street for the day. Another yearly tradition we have is our family feast. This takes place in November. And this year we had over 250 people attend. And this is only done through the generosity of our staff and our parents. Everybody brings food. Our staff members donate their time to serve and be there, set up, and we all enjoy a meal together. Another yearly tradition we have is Family Literacy Night, where again, hundreds of families come together to engage in fun literacy activities where parents recognize ways that they can engage with their students at home in a fun way and build their literacy skills. We do the same with Family Math Night that takes place in the second half of the year, usually. And again, they come, they have fun doing all different activities with their parents, and they take home certain activities that they can continue doing at home. Really, everything we do is all about the students. We love our children and we want them to really love coming to school and experience joy when they're at school. We have clubs on Friday afternoons. This also helps with our Friday attendance. Students are allowed to choose They rank the clubs they'd like to join, 1, 2, and 3. And for the first half of the year, they're in one club, and then we switch again in the second half of the year. We have all different clubs. They are focused on building college and career awareness, and the teachers are allowed to choose what title, what their area of specialty is, what club that they would like to host. We have a chorus that we started 2 years ago. I'm happy to say that this year we doubled it in size. The students just love being part of the chorus. First time they performed was at the opening of our UFT center. We also began a basketball team last year. They participate in the District 28 games. We actually, this is our second year. We won our first game last week, and the students were very, very excited about that. So we're looking forward to maybe getting a few more wins this year. Every day we end our announcements, and the students do the announcements with this phrase, be the change you want to see in the world, be kind. We promote kindness and empathy and belonging at PS 54.
Thank you, Principal. Principal Hanley. Did you see these hearts? You see these hearts come in? You've been getting hearts the whole time. Like, thank you. You like a wonderful job you're doing with our children in our district. We really appreciate you and all the work you do. And it shows. And we love to see the numbers. We love to see the results. And even Vic was in the chat just highlighting that this is happening at all the schools, but today we're celebrating you. So other principals, let us know and we'll celebrate you too. But thank you, Principal Hanley, for all of that.
Thank
We're
you so
clapping in
much.
the background. All right. Next, everyone did receive the email of the resolution that we're passing, that we're proposing today. But before we propose a resolution, I would like to invite student August Hoyt, who has a presentation.
Hey, I'm also here with one other student, and we're going to be giving a presentation on our campaign to expand student nominee cards. So I've sent you, if you want me to mirror it, I can. Here, I can share. Okay, now. Right? Can you guys see that? Can everyone see this?
Yes.
All right, perfect. All right, so me and Charlie today are members of the Transportation Alternatives Youth Activist Committee. We are a branch of the nonprofit Transportation Alternatives, and specifically the youth are made up of high school and college students who are interested in transportation equity in New York City, specifically in this case related to students. So I'm August Hoyt. I go to Bard, Manhattan.
And I'm Charlie Hahn. I go to Bronx Science. And again, I see in the chat someone is, yes, it's a great school. Anyways, thank you so much for having us. It's really an honor to be here. But yeah, we have two campaigns with us. This is what we're presenting today, Expand Student Omni.
So our campaign Expand Student Omni has 4 asks. The first one is for Omni cards to be given to all New York City students without limitations. Currently, students who live within a half-mile of school or students who get yellow bus service don't receive Omni cards, and we're hoping for that to be changed so that all students get access. Our second is for unlimited rides for all New York City students. Right now, they're capped at 4 rides a day, these student Omni cards, and we are hoping for the system to be expanded to unlimited rides, as 4 rides often isn't enough for students' transportation needs. Our third is for more communication around the deactivations of student nominee cards. Oftentimes, we've seen that student nominee cards will just be randomly deactivated, and um, there's very little transparency from the MTA and the DOE as to how that happens. So we're hoping for more transparency around that. And our final ask is for faster replacement of cards. Often schools will run out of cards, and their students who come to get a replacement card will be unable to do so, and the replacement process to get new cards to schools can take quite a while, which means that students will often have to go without a card for extended periods of time.
Yeah, so for our previous efforts and with this campaign, we've had previously Senators Hoylman Sigel and Kavanaugh, along with many supporters of theirs, have sent letters to the NYCPS as well as the MTA, pushing for this expansion. And we've also done 7 CECs, and all of which have passed resolutions addressing these issues. So this is since 2024.
So far, we've taken a number of steps in order to advance our petition. We've launched it back in May, and it has over 200 signatures now. We've met with the MTA and with PCAC, which is a watchdog group for the MTA, to discuss our concerns with the student nominee campaign. We've received supportive resolutions from 5 CECs and 4 boroughs, and we've contacted and started to connect with the Office of People Transportation at the DOE in order to discuss our asks. So in the future, we'd like to get more supportive resolutions from CECs like you. We want to explore the issues with student nominee a little more using a survey that we have, and we'd like to advocate more for a digital rollout of nominee cards.
Yeah, so currently, any students living within a half-mile radius of their school, as well as students who take the yellow bus, I saw someone in the chat, I think, mentioned that, they're not eligible to receive a student Omni card. This really limits the opportunities these students have to go to extracurriculars, to go to jobs, to wait after school if they miss their bus, maybe, and greatly increases the cost of transportation for these students. It restricts their mobility, and it makes it much harder for them to really travel in our city. This expansion specifically is expected to cost $50 million, which seems like a lot, but it's really, I think, 0.1% of the total NYC DOE budget. But yeah, so this expansion will guarantee that these students and their families won't be spending so much money on transportation.
So our third campaign ask is for unlimited rides for sorry. Our next campaign ask is for unlimited rides for all New York City students. Our second campaign ask. Currently, New York is lagging behind in this. Many other U.S. cities, including DC, Denver, LA, and Honolulu, already have unlimited rides on their student transit cards. So we're hoping for New York to do the same. Fare capping already exists with traditional Omni cards, where you don't have to pay after 12 rides in a week, but students have to start paying after 28. And students just have more places to be than 4 trips often allows. We should be allowed to explore our city without impediment, and 4 rides a day often leaves students stuck behind the turnstile with their carts not working, which inevitably leads to fare evasion and confrontations with law enforcement.
Yeah, so we've also heard many, many stories of card deactivation, where oftentimes the Omni card will just end up not working, and you'll have to either pay out of pocket or unfortunately jump the turnstile. Now, this is a common occurrence from what we've heard, and there's very little communication from the MTA on this topic. Uh, Now, I think someone also mentioned this in the chat that there was an issue of this 2 week period during the last 2 weeks of summer, where they are getting rid of the old Omni cards and even the new ones, which is another issue that we're looking at in terms of this deactivation.
So our final campaign ask is for a faster and more reliable faster and more reliable replacement process for student nominee. The current process can take quite a while. As we've already seen, students' cards are often deactivated or they're just lost or buggy, and this can happen quite a lot. And schools will inevitably run out of replacement cards with all of the students who need these replacements. And when they do run out, it can take over 2 weeks for the new cards to arrive at schools, which means that students will have to choose between paying out of pocket, which can really add up for these 2 weeks, or fair evade, which, like I've already said, can create more unnecessary confrontations with the police that are very avoidable. So we have a couple of asks for what you guys could do. Our first and our main one is to adopt a comprehensive resolution that supports our campaign asks. We've shared that with you, and I think it should be somewhere in the agenda. You can push for updates to the Chancellor's Regulation A801 that addresses the issues. It basically outlines that regulation basically outlines what the student transit program has to look like, but it hasn't been updated in quite a while. It still says MetroCard instead of Omni in a lot of places, and so we'd like to keep it current with the current issues with student Omni, so you guys can push for that as a CC. You can contact any elected officials who you might have contacts with and encourage them to fund this expanded student nominee, or just to encourage them to push the DOE to move towards it. And you can finally spread our petition with other parents, students, anyone who you think is interested in signing it. It's down there. I'm also going to drop the link to it in the chat. And so thank you. If you have any questions, let me know or drop them in the chat. Our petition QR code is right there. I'm also going to put the link to our survey in the chat. That's really important. We're trying to get as much data as we can around what people's problems with student Omni are. So if you have a student who has had problems with their Omni card, we really encourage you to get them to fill this out. We're trying to get as many responses as we can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay right there because I do know we might have had some questions. We have a question from our first vice president. A phenomenal presentation, guys. Thank you for that. Lauren?
Yeah, that was really wonderful. Thank you, Charles and August. My question, I do believe, I think I heard you make a reference to a digital rollout. Are you in favor of having the option of a digital card if that were something that the MTA or OPT were to offer?
Yeah, we're definitely in support. There's get a little feedback. We just like to have students. We just like the program to be more accessible. So if like having another option means the program is more accessible for all students, then that's definitely what we're pushing for.
Okay, and is that something that is supported by any data that you can share?
What
The
is
survey data?
the survey data supports what?
The option of a virtual card or a digital card.
Like saying that it's popular?
Yeah.
That's the thing. So we don't have a lot of survey data. We have had a couple of responses from people saying they wish they could use their phone for it, but
Okay.
we want more data. So that's why we're spreading the survey around.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I did see that Jennifer had a question. Did you want to ask the question?
Hey, August and Charles. I have a quick question. What is the risk of not capping the rights?
Oh. So you mean like what are the problems what are the problems with unlimited rides sort of?
Yeah, so the pros will be giving students unlimited access and rights, right? And you can go where you need to go. And what is the risk of not having that cap?
I mean, I guess there's a cost thing, but we're not really sure. Like, there's not a lot of clarity about how much that would cost, and also, like we've already said, that like expansions to this program are not that costly. So I think cost would probably be the biggest one, but I don't think that's a big impediment.
But
Okay, so cost
hopefully,
only factor here.
Uh, yeah, I mean, unless you have another one, Charlie, I think cost is really the biggest impediment. Right
yeah, I
now,
mean, yeah, hopefully though, the main risk comes from the fare evasion and the possible arrests that students face. So we believe that expanding that will bring more and more good than have less get rid of these risks.
Got it.
uh,
Thank you.
and also, like, just in general, the biggest impediment to our campaign has more just been getting responses from MTA and the DOE. I saw one question from Sasha Cruz saying, "What about students who don't have phones?" We're not saying that you can own. We don't want it to be you can only use a digital card. We want the digital card to be an option. We don't want to eliminate the paper cards. It's just we want it to always be we want it to always be possible for students to use a digital card. We don't want to eliminate physical cards. And I also saw a question from Eric saying, "What has been the feedback from the MTA?" We haven't gotten a lot. We have had a meeting with them, and we discussed mostly the shutdowns, and they put a lot of the blame on the DOE. They said that they don't really control shutdowns, and the DOE does that. So they've sort of pushed uh, that concern aside a little. But besides that, we haven't gotten that much feedback from them. And as to what our priority is, I mean, we don't necessarily have a priority. Like Lauren said, we're trying to push for everything in our campaign. And Kenya had one question. I hear on mute.
Okay. Thank you so much. I did have a question regarding, you mentioned DC, Denver, and Honolulu is having this for already. And I was just curious in your research, if you have done any research, just the populations of youth going to school in those areas. DC feels like it might have a big population. And if there was any way for you to know how they got that off the ground, right? Was it, petitioned in the same way, or if it was just something they did out of, being a great elected official or something. That's one thing I wanted to know. And then also I wanted to say a suggestion is to maybe talk to like the transportation committee for like the city council and stuff like that as well. So that way you can, gain some traction. So just curious about the DC and other cities that have been doing it.
Yeah, so also LA also does it, so that's probably the biggest city in terms of population that has these unlimited rides. We haven't done that much research on how they came to be, I don't think. So that's a really good suggestion. We should do that. And as to the transportation committee, yeah, we've been trying to reach out to council members. We're going to be doing a district office drop-in, and we're specifically targeting members of the transportation committee and the transportation chair. So.
All right, we'll take one more.
Someone in the chat, I think, asked about uh recommended curfew. Um, and I think that for the first Omni expansion, August, I may be wrong here, but there was a curfew. I don't remember the time though.
Yeah, it used to be when you used to have Metro cards, it used to be 5 a.m. to 30 p.m. I mean, in general, I understand there are concerns with students staying out too late, but um, we're generally trying to not advocate for restrictions. We're trying to advocate for the system to be more inclusive. Yes, there could be issues with students staying out too late, but I also just generally think that students who are denied at the turnstiles won't just go home. They'll often just fare evade. So I think that it won't necessarily be encouraging students to stay out later. I think making it that there's no curfew would more just decrease fare evasion.
I'd rather have these students have access to uh, free transit, especially late at night. And I don't think this will stop students from being out past a specific curfew.
Hi guys. Thanks for the presentation. I also I heard you before. It's really wonderful and important. Do you guys have any data or enough data about how this affects middle and elementary school families? I can imagine that this is very vital for high school students. One, and then two, has there ever been a thought of perhaps kind of advocating maybe at first, perhaps for high school students, seeing how that works, and then sort of like a piloting of that, and then trickling down to middle and elementary?
We don't have, I mean, like I said, anything about data, we're trying to
Sorry,
get
we
that.
can't hear you, August.
You can't hear me? No one else hear me? Okay. Um, anything about data, it's just like it's really we're trying to get this survey out in order to get all the data that we need. So the survey is like the biggest thing. We don't have a lot of data right now because we haven't gotten enough survey responses. I would imagine though that the students not receiving an Omni card for living too close to school probably affects middle and elementary school students disproportionately because they often live closer to their schools and go to a zone school. I suppose we could do a high school pilot first. Like I said, with our one of our main asks is for all students to receive an Omni card, and that's something that more is targeted towards elementary and middle school students. So we'd sort of be missing them by doing a. We'd sort of be missing that element of the campaign by only doing a high school rollout. But that is something that we've discussed a little, how to like sort of pilot this first.
Okay, with no more comments or suggestions, I'd like
Oh,
to
and sorry,
go
Jessica, I
go
just
ahead.
wanted to clarify a little to your thing there. I know plenty of middle school students and elementary school students have Omni cards. I'm not denying that, but they're just far more middle and elementary school students who do live closer to their schools. So I just wanted to clarify that we weren't saying that there were no middle school students who get Omni cards.
Thank you for that. And thank you, community, for asking your questions and council members. Again, next up on our agenda is the resolution that we have sent out in the email um, for CEC28 proposed resolution. I'm gonna pull it up on the screen right now. Give me a second. Okay, can everyone see the screen? So I saw this presentation and I put together this resolution. I kind of also reviewed CEC 30, who also passed this resolution. And then I just made it reflect our district and seeing the possibilities of it. So I'm just going to skim through it. Students who live 1.5 miles um, of their schools, students who receive yellow bus service, and students with disabilities using alternative New York City public schools are currently not eligible. Everything that was pretty much said in the presentation. And the whereas is pretty much all the things. And then we just made it reflect District 28. And then let's just skip through. So this, we would be in collaboration with New York City Public Schools, MTA, to provide student Omni cards to all New York City Public School students without limitation or exclusion based on distance from school, transportation eligibility, attendance status, program type, or housing circumstance. And everything from Regulation A81, pretty much aligning with the presentation and the questions that were asked. These are links that back it. So Does anyone have any questions on this resolution that was sent out?
I do. Where it says without limitation, can we infer that to mean that it's unlimited? Oh, just want to make sure.
You'd rather say unlimited?
I just want that. Yeah, I would like that to be explicit.
Okay. Yes.
What page is that?
That's on the second to last.
Yeah. On the last page, the first paragraph. Because I just think that's critical and we should be really clear about that. If anyone finds where it says that it's unlimited.
Last page, first paragraph. First paragraph, second one.
This should be to everybody as opposed to.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Give me a second. Let me edit that. This is a PDF.
Maybe we can unlimited active student reading cards. Can we stick it in there?
All right, so I'm just share my screen and just let you guys know the update we did. Gotcha. So right here, we just put, guys, camera. We put the word unlimited just to really emphasize that this is what we're looking for, unlimited active student Omni cards year round. So with this update, I'm going to ask our secretary.
Not yet.
But first, do we have any public comments or opinions? Okay.
Can I read the comment in the chat?
Yes.
Sit there.
Okay.
I just want to highlight this comment in the chat from Jimena Sprinkle. A lot of talk about curfews, so I'll post this. Besides students who have sports, the issue with curfews, in my opinion, is that it would limit the accessibility to all students due to the fact that students have varied needs, circumstances, and obligations, work, etc. And it would be limiting to restrict them to curfews rather than allow that to be a family decision, not a DOE or MTA restriction. Jung Park, did you have a comment on this particular resolution? I'm going to respond to your comment, Jessica. We do explicitly ask for the cards to be active year round. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, council members, and thank you, community. So now I'm going to ask our recording secretary, Chantel, to do a roll call on the voting on passing this resolution. I'd like to make a motion to pass this resolution. Second. Second.
All right, so now we're going to do a roll call for our resolution. We have first Vice President Lauren Clavin. How do you vote?
Absolutely, yes.
Second Vice President Jennifer Sobers.
Yes.
Recording Secretary Chantal Chambers, yes. Treasurer Alicia Bauer.
Yes.
Members Lou Zhao.
Yes.
Annie Koch.
Yes.
Kenya Townsend.
Yes.
Takeda Williams.
Yes.
Eric Gretsch.
Yep.
Cicely Chu.
Yes.
And President Quentin Mezitin.
Yes. Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, resolution was officially passed today, February 5th at 8:14 p.m. So we will update the resolution and send it out. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate like all the support in passing this. This is really helpful.
Before we go to public comment, we do have a speaker list.
I think.
Oh, August. Oh, my bad.
saying-
August.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
Okay.
Gotta do this thing. Go ahead.
Thank you guys so much for letting us present and passing this resolution. It's super helpful. I'm just gonna drop our petition and our survey in the chat. If you have a student who has had issues with the nominee card, we really encourage you to fill this out. We are really trying to get more data, and this is the way that we can do that. So I'm just gonna put both of those in. And thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the courage to do this. You know, speaking for a lot of students, high school, middle school, and elementary. This took courage, and we appreciate that. All right. So at this time, I just want to give a quick shout out to any elected officials that have come to just bring greetings. Please raise your hand if you have something that you want to share. Our elected officials. You see any?
Mr. Sujan and Sarah. But I didn't.
Okay,
Sujan and Sarah.
no worries. And next, I'd like to thank our principals that always show up for us. And let me see, if you don't mind just saying a quick.
Do you want to shout them out?
Okay, well, raise your hand if you have something you want to share, but I'm gonna shout you guys out. So we have Principal Petrello, we have Principal Hanley, we have Principal Hansberry Signal, and we have Principal Jacob, and we have those Jacob Lau, and those are our principals. Did I miss a principal? No. Awesome. So thank you, principals, for always showing up. We see you and we love to share what you always do for us. See you, Principal Signal. You're still in school. Like that is commitment. Like you didn't even go home yet. So we definitely want you to get home and get some rest because you're always first thing there in the morning. I see you those mornings in this snow. I'm looking for parking. And I just want to thank you all, but it doesn't just stop with the principals. It's the parent coordinators, it's the assistant principals, it's the secretaries, it's all the staff going down to this custodian. All of us moving parts make this work for all of us. I just want to thank everyone, every type of level, paras all the way up. Thank you for all you do for our schools, our community, and for our children. And next, we're going to go to public comment. So Lauren had just put the speakers list in order, but we did have one attendee come here in person in the midst of all this snow that hasn't been cleaned up. She made it here safely. She put her name on the list and she got here before we even started. So I want to give her an opportunity. Yes. Oh, you don't want to speak?
No, she
Oh, you just got okay. She just came because she likes us. That's even better. She didn't want to say something. So thank you for liking us. We appreciate you. And now we will go to the public comment section that would speak in the chat. So first we have our PEP representative, Adriana Alicia.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, my microphone was not cooperating. I don't know if my video camera is cooperating either, but we're just going to go. It is? Okay, good. You guys can see me. Hello, everyone. Adriana Alicea, she, her, representing Queen CECs on the panel for educational policy, also known as the PEP. I'm so happy to see all of you guys here tonight. This is like, what, the third time I'm seeing you today, Quentin? I think it's the third time we're seeing each other today. Quentin and I spent the morning at Pan American High School over in District 24 with the Chancellor, and then we spent the late morning over at 303 with the Chancellor and with Dr. Blake. That was incredible. Thank you to 303. I already said it in the chat, but thank you to 303 for your hospitality. Thank you, parents of 303 students, for raising such incredible performers. Their voices are wonderful. Very, very nice. Very nice. And they're very sweet and they're very welcoming, which is great. I love District 28 students. I wanted to formally sign up to speak this time because February is the month where the PEP is coming to Queens. We will be in Queens meeting on February 25th. That is the last Wednesday of the month. We'll be getting started approximately 6 p.m. And I think we are at Long Island City High School. All of the information is available on the PEP's website. You can sign up to speak online the day of. Sign up opens at 5:30 p.m. Please refresh your screen after 5:30, as sometimes the Google link does not automatically update itself. This month, there will be a number of school utilization proposals. If any of you guys have joined the numerous calls that we've had this month regarding the school utilization proposals, then you will be prepped and primed for our PEP meeting in a couple of weeks. There are a number of those, and there are a few other things that we'll be discussing at the PEP this month. So if you have comments, but you will not be able to attend in person, please email the PEP your comments. You can email them to me directly. I've shared my email in the chat, but I will share it again. And I'm also going to share the panel's general email address. And I think that's everything. Thank you all. Good night. I'll be around for the rest of the meeting if anybody has questions.
Thank you, Adriana. And yes, we saw each other all day. We both just need to get home and just go to bed. You're probably home, lucky you. All right, next we have Jimena Milagros Perez Franco.
Hello, thank you, Quentin, for naming all of my ancestors in that. Hi, everyone. Thank you. I just wanted to speak for a moment on an issue that was touched on at the beginning of the meeting that both Quentin and the Superintendent Blake touched on with regards to this moment that many of us are seeing on our screens and through our city and everywhere in our country and different cities, and that is the increase of ICE attacks, ICE raids, and ICE activity in our cities, particularly Minnesota is the latest unfortunate troubling circumstances that they're under occupation there in the city. And so I just wanted to just briefly comment on, I appreciate that the superintendent mentioned the protocol of non-police protocols that we have, non-local law enforcement protocols that we have for the DOE. And I just wanted to encourage not just the CEC, but the DOE, our superintendents, our schools, to push a little bit further and a little bit more from what we are advising our families. As an immigrant myself and one who came to this country as a second grader, this is a topic that is very near and dear to me. And I fear that as a district and as a city, we will miss a crucial opportunity to prepare our families with the tools and to protect themselves, regardless of where they live, which district they live in. One thing that's been very apparent with how this administration has been sending ICE into our cities is that no one is safe, and we cannot take the threats of this administration, and especially those that they have posed on our city as a whole, lightly. There have been numerous kidnappings in especially Corona. However, we have had some in Jamaica. We have had ICE presence in Richmond Hill, and those are in our district, in our school district. And I feel that we must be proactive and ensure that we've done everything that we can to protect our children. I understand that the protocol that the superintendent presented speaks of how we could protect our children within the schools, but what we need is further guidance on how we can protect our families while they're on their way to school. There are children who are being kept home because parents are being stopped and questioned by ICE. This has happened in District 24 and other districts. I've spoken to educators, administration in those particular districts who talk about how all the staff, the administration knows that this is happening, but they don't feel that they can actually speak on it or do anything about it to properly prepare their families. It appears that there's this belief in our own district, even in my neighborhood. I'm in Forest Hills. I'm a parent at PS 196, that we think that this can't happen here. Again, it can happen anywhere. And as long as we prepare our families and ourselves for what could be, and that is extending, I know my time is up or almost up, extending not just sheets of Know Your Rights or an email, but rather actually inviting our families into the conversation, having trainings, offering them with the tools for family preparedness and all these things. I do this for work. I do this outside of my work as an organizer myself. And so I just want to name that we can't ignore this any further. We can't tiptoe around it. We actually must be far more proactive in preparing our families for what could be and what's possible. I'm not taking the threats of this administration lightly, and neither should any of us, especially in this city in this moment. I think that's it. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. I gave you some extra time because I really wanted you to get your point across. And also, we get a lot of emails reflecting exactly what you said. So we are doing what we can as a council. And I know we're putting stuff together, but any resource that you have that you want to share with us that we can share out, we really appreciate it. And thank you for doing what you do. And thank you for your care for all of us. We really appreciate you. Next on our list, we have
Bruce.
Bruce. Wait. we have our man of the hour, U of T representative for District 28, Bruce.
Thanks, Quentin. Another great introduction. But good evening, everyone. It's great to see all of you. I attended the PS 303 welcoming of the new chancellor this morning as well, and I just want to congratulate the staff there, the parents there, and also the students there for doing such an outstanding job in welcoming the chancellor. The students did a great performance. They also asked the chancellor some very thoughtful questions. I was really impressed with the student questions. And it was a great day there. And I'd like to thank Principal Hanley for her presentation and sharing all the great things that are going on at PS 54, all the wonderful programs that they have for students as well as parents there. In terms of what's going on with the UFT, we do have a CEC meet and greet with UFT President Michael Moger this coming Monday. We're working on two big campaigns, as everyone may know. There's a lot of difficulty in this country attracting educators to the profession. So we have two campaigns going on that the UFT is doing that are designed to try to attract people to the profession. One right now, it involves creating a better pension benefit for those who become educators in our city, and also to get a $10,000 salary increase for our paraprofessionals who are so crucial to our schools and so important to the education of our students in our New York City schools. And lastly, on March 16th, we'll have our annual lobby day where active UFT educators from our schools and parents go up to Albany and speak with our legislators and advocate for funding for our schools as well as resources. So we welcome parents and community members to join us on that day. And with that, I wish everyone to have a great midwinter recess, which is coming up very quickly. And have a good night, everyone. It's really good seeing all of you.
Thank you, as always, Bruce, for all the work you do. Next, we have Jung Park.
Hi, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you for letting me take this opportunity at the public comment period to address, a matter that's on the forefront of many people's hearts and minds. I reiterate everything the prior speaker said about how we should not miss this time, this chance to prepare. My name is Jung Park. I'm a parent of a child in a school in District 28, PS 99. And we want to just make sure that our schools have all the available resources to respond properly to ICE and other federal agents. And I don't know if the CEC knows whether or not all our schools are implementing the UFT resolution to establish school-based communities to support immigrant students and their families. And, parents would be interested in other proactive steps that we can take, the CEC, district leadership can take to protect students at drop-off and pickup, or provide them with any support that they may need after being in contact with federal agents. Thank you.
Thank you. And then, yes. And now, I'm gonna break a little rule, and we're gonna let one of our good, great, phenomenal parent leaders, Sasha Cruz, get on that list. Snuck in at the end, but we're gonna allow it this time. Thank you, Sasha.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for allowing me. I know I was late, so I appreciate the last minute. Um, Wanted to mention there's been a lot of talk about the mayor wanting to phase out gifted and talented programs across the New York City DOE. And while many schools in our district may not offer gifted and talented, several do have honor classes that they give students who are ready for more challenge, the opportunity to grow academically, right? So the real question is, what is our district doing to ensure that every school in our district has some form of honors or advanced learning pathway? Equity doesn't mean lowering standards, and I think that that's what we've seen, that like the test scores have been, the standards had been lower so our kids could pass or whatever. So how can we ensure, right, that we're expanding access to enrichment, challenging our kids, right? We as parents don't want mediocre kids, right? We want to set them up for success and give them all the opportunity we can in our school. And we want to raise that bar. So our children deserve rigorous instructions, more project-based learnings, and the opportunity to think critically and creatively. So we want to make sure or want to know how our district is supporting the schools to make this equitable. I'm in North Queens. You know, we hear a lot of great things in Jamaica and like our school, we don't have this. So like what resources, training, curriculums, we're ensuring that our kids have high quality learning experiences, not just a selected few. So I know our kids are capable of more and the system should reflect that. So we're hoping that this district ensures that it's equitable across anywhere from North Queens all the way to South Queens. So we want to hear more about those advancements. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, and you stayed within time too. Thank you, Sasha, as always, for your input and your impact in our community. Right now, I want to call on the district, our district, and I want to start with Dr. Benoit. And if any of our district want to respond to Sasha's question, please feel free. But Dr. Benoit, please, in greetings.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. It is always a pleasure to be here in community with our CEC, our families. And I want to reiterate what was said earlier in terms of, you know, us being a community and showing up all the time for each other. So President Messenden and all of our partners in the CEC, including our district rep, Bruce, who was at 303 this morning, showing up as, you know, the true community that we are. I wanted to thank everybody for that support, and of course, lift up and shout out Principal Speraza for being the tremendous host that she was today. Her community, her scholars, her families, her staff were just phenomenal. I want to wish everybody happy and informative Black History Month. And, you know, we will see each other again next month, but it's always a pleasure to be here and to support, you know, the community from the district office. Thank you.
Thank you as well. And I like to call our FLC, Sonia Bueda, who is always on the emails, always sending out information. She even put some information in the chat if you want to reshare it for the people that came after about the CUNY citizenship, because I know that was very good information. But Sonia, if you'd like to bring some greetings.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I mean, I had so many things to say, but honestly, you know, I come short when I start hearing things about our community and hearing our students being such amazing advocates, from our high schoolers this evening to our students at 303 this morning. But I also wanted to say something real quick that you didn't know from your meeting last month. we don't realize the impact that we have sometimes, whether you're a principal, a PC, parent volunteers, a CEC. At their meeting last month, I actually had a parent reach out to me and said that she was so excited from hearing the candidate's interview, but she felt like she wasn't a leader. And it was very interesting because we had a quick conversation about what her role could be. And she felt a little bit intimidated by attending the CEC meeting, but was excited at the same time. And, you know, the questions that I asked her were, are you a parent? What do? You take your kids to school? All the different things that she said. I said, you're a leader. You're a leader in your home. You're a leader in so many spaces that you don't even know. And so I want to encourage, if this parent is here this evening, I asked her to, you know, just encourage you to keep coming, to just continue on that path. You don't have to have a title to feel that you're making a difference. We don't know, all of you here, we don't know whose lives we're touching. And we do have a lot of impact. And it could be a ripple effect, it could be a tsunami, but it's an impact for positive change. And so with that, I want to transition that we're also now looking into nominations and elections for all of these positions. And we still have vacancies. It is February 5th, and I was doing elections this morning at 8 in the morning, still trying to fill seats for parents that had to move from one shelter to another because of situations. And so it's important that, you know, we continue the voice. Know that you have impact no matter what space you take in this room, in this Zoom, but also know that we have to support our families because there's many things going on. And oftentimes we look at data and we look at numbers, but we don't look at what's happening in some of these homes and the struggles. And so, you know, I want to just encourage our parents and our families to continue having their voices elevated. Hopefully they'll run for positions in their schools, but know that they're leaders, irrespective of whether we have a title or not. And so I'm very proud of this district, very proud of being a partner with you all. And thank you for everything that you do and for allowing me to speak this evening.
Thank you. And I just want to acknowledge Vic and Raj for all the work you do as well. Yes, Vic is in the chat. So next, we're going to go to our council member reports. But thank you for all of you guys' work. And council members, I'm going to have our recording secretary go down the roll call with our reports.
Evening again. Okay, so our first report will come from our first Vice President, Lauren Clavin.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you to the parents who showed up to make their voices heard. We received over the past couple of days a deluge of emails from the community, from parents, from community members across the district who share the concerns that Jimena and Jung gave voice to tonight. I'm right there with you. I want you to know that you're heard. I thank you, Dr. Blake, for addressing that up top in your comments this evening, because we don't always know what schools are doing, right? So I think it's important that we let the community know what's going on and how our staff has been trained. You know, we're as council members maybe privy to more things than the general public is, and I thank you for including that in your presentation. I also reiterate, as Jimena said, that I think that we have the opportunity to push and do a little more. And so for every single person that reached out to us, because you reached out to us personally, I will personally be responding to all of you to see how we may collaborate as parents to make sure that we protect our community, because I know that we may disagree on a lot of things, but I know for sure the one thing that we all share, everybody on this call, all the leadership at our district at large, who is everywhere all the time, we all know that when we visit our schools, one of you is going to be there because you love these schools and you love these kids. And we know that. So thank you all so much, and you will be hearing from me. And on a completely different note, I want to just shout out one of my schools, the entire leadership team at PS86. We received a communication in our inbox from a parent who needed some guidance. I reached out to them and it was made clear that the school was on it. So just want to make sure that I acknowledge those efforts to be proactive and responsive when our parents need some guidance and reassurance for their kids. And I am going to yield my time.
Thank you, Lauren. We're going to have our second vice president give her report, Jennifer Sobers.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Start with a liaison update. It's always a pleasure to attend my liaison school SLT meetings. I attended 121 this past month. I also got a chance to briefly meet with Principal Panetta at the Young Women's Leadership School. I look forward to strategizing with Quentin and others about how we can best support the school. In case people are not as aware, it's a 6 to 12 school in our district. And because of the middle school, it is counted in our district, but it's also served by high school councils. So Dr. Blake is the superintendent of the majority of the D28 schools, except there are different superintendents for the 6 to 12 schools. So it appears that collaboration with stakeholders who are not usually at these sorts of meetings is necessary. So for example, there are necessary capital building supports in the school and other needs. So at the moment, just trying to work out who are the necessary stakeholders, but I'm starting the process and will continue to the best of my ability. I'm connecting with all of my liaison schools to encourage them to apply for the ResAway funding for the many innovative, creative, as well as necessary projects that the SCA likely cannot support. I believe maybe a colleague on the CEC will touch on this in her report. And important information we recently learned regarding SCA funding. I absolutely understand CEC has real limitations. I understand the importance of being a team player and compromise, but when you start to sense a vibe that you get stock answers to something, and then encouraging us to accept limitations offered, it's not as great. So again, it's a real result to have to accept certain things. But I urge us, the council here, to not easily give up on our advocacy for our parent constituents on all fronts. And at the very least, we can give families and schools information and then be guided by their responses and reactions as to how we proceed. That is, accept or do everything in our power to advocate for change. So for example, we should not be getting pushback when we request that principals be updated about progress of capital improvement projects or repairs or other funding projects. That's not controversial. Right? Give updates. Don't let years go by without updates. It seems very non-controversial. But thank you though for district leadership for any assistance you've been giving and will give on this front. I've attended other recent meetings. I believe others on the council may report on like the class size law meeting, as well as assisted with some other parent questions and concerns. Everyone enjoy midwinter break. Happy Black History Month. And remember, we all make history every single day, and we can all be change makers. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. And now I will give my report. So this month, I started the month in a meeting with Dr. Hazel Lewis from PS 174, along with Grace Ming's some representatives from her office, working together with them to see ways they could help the school meet their class size requirements and also get a science teacher into their school. We also, we had a snow day, and I just want to congratulate and say good job to the parents. Um, going through remote learning. I know for me, I was pulling out my hair, and I'm some parents didn't have such a rough experience as I did, but you all were patient, and you made it through. I also want to say congratulations because this is the middle of the school year, and I know for my son, he got a mid-year 100% attendance award, and I was like, that award is for me. Because really, it's the parents, right? It's we yes, the children overcome a lot, but the parents really have to overcome, a whole lot to really get those children out to school every day. There are some things that are within our control, and there are a lot of things that are outside of our control. And we have overcome all of these things up until this point, to this midpoint of the school year. So I just want to wish you congratulations, say good job, encourage you to pat yourself on the back and keep up the good work. All right, and I'm going to pass it over to our treasurer, Alicia Bauer.
I'll share my screen, guys. Jennifer mentioned an ongoing conversation that we have with School Construction Authority. School stakeholders meeting was held yesterday, and the following problems were highlighted. SCA does not honor CEC28 recommendation for capital projects. We reviewed the list of 20 recommendations we submitted last year. We were required to prioritize top 5. None of the 20 was honored by School Construction Authority. Problem number 2, principals experience lack of notifications updates throughout various stages of school construction projects. This is old and tiring issue. Possible solutions is to write a resolution requiring School Construction Authority honor CEC recommendations, and the creation of school construction projects tracker accessible to principals and CEC members. I visited one of my liaison schools, MS217. Keisha, who is the leader of the whole production of food in the school, is present at this meeting right now. Thank you, Keisha, for attending. Over the Christmas break, floors in the kitchen were repaired. Now it is a smooth surface that's easy to wipe. It looks better. You see photos of the amazing food that is prepared for the students. This is the team, and Keisha is here on the right. She is an active member of our community. She is knowledgeable, she is involved, she is advocate for her staff and her children. I had an honor to taste the students' creations. This crumb cake or coffee cake on the left was made by students and were professional quality. And this is the spread SLT team members get every month. Keisha, you are amazing. Students of MS217 have a mobile kitchen, and it is custom designed and personalized for them. It is brand new, it is beautiful, it is functional, it has everything for meals to be prepared inside of school, on the go, outside of the school. This kitchen can go from floor to floor, from room to room, and students learn amazing skills in the school. Keisha and her staff requested that trash is picked up daily instead of twice a week. This is not an unusual sight right now by our buildings, by our schools. The trash is piled up and spilled because of lack of accessibility. Snow is temporarily, but this large school generates enough trash to be picked up daily. Controversial tree that stands or not in the way of the construction of MS 217 annex. On the left picture, you see this tree that is inside of the park. The argument have been, held for many, many years is that this driveway is not wide enough for the fire truck to come to the school if, picture on the right, if an annex is built behind this tree right here, behind this building. So the school does not see it as a problem. They think that the fence can be moved to widen the road. However, the road has to be 15 feet wide, and I don't think anybody measured that yet. Emerson School had an amazing award. This is MS 287 award ceremony for students and staff. The performers were outstanding, and the food and the appreciation of those who show up for the community were amazing. Speaking of the projects that are not addressing communication is seized, MS 217 has HVAC project funding approved for HVAC system, gym renovation, and restrooms updates. It is so far in the waiting stage. What happens next after the funding is received? This is Halsey Junior High 157. They're also working on the classroom sizes. To be compliant with the small classroom size law, they have roughly 700 students. The Department of Education requesting to accept 25 more students, which makes it difficult to be compliant. And annex will also be a part of the solution. And they finally getting bathroom updates on the second floor that has not had plumbing for many years. Now it will be fixed. And during the SLT, the funny part of the conversation was about how to now train the students to use new bathrooms that they have not had for so many years. And last slide. One of the council members, Lauren Clavin, shared with us an amazing opportunity to attend a conversation with former chancellors. And Chancellor Dr. Ruby Crew was a chancellor between 95 and 2000. He shared that at that time, 15 to 20-day training was provided to parent leaders after they elected, so they understand the systems and their jobs. This empowers parents to, this timely training is empowering parents to do their job and be in the known. I hear a lot of conversations during SLT meetings, DLT meetings in parent and family engagement. And I was so glad to hear that Chancellor Crew believed that that will come after the empowerment of the parents, after the training is provided and all the questions are answered. And unfortunately, Mike, so this is my 4th year of being parent leader. I never got timely training. As my service to the community grew, my training did not. And every year I attended training that has not changed and was not for correlating to my needs as a parent leader. And Sonia Rueda is graciously accepted my offer to start brainstorming sessions with hopes that we can provide training to parent leaders right after the election, and that it will be all-inclusive and comprehensive training. And I'm very appreciative of Sonia's welcoming of ideas. And that is all I have.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Alicia. And definitely that training would be very, very helpful. Now we have member Lu Zhao.
Hi, just very happy to see Principal Hattie. The presentation. I've been to the school many times, and I really love that school. So the reason the SFT Principal Hattie actually raised a very important issue there because she's very informative, during the meeting, like explain all the things very clearly. One thing that jump out is the enrollment issues. Of now they're doing estimates, next year's enrollment, and the enrollment will continue to fall, which I mean, if you've been to the school, you know the school, it's very well run. The kids are happy. You can see the performance are good, but this is kind of a natural trend for the city now. The enrollment continue to fall for a smaller school like PS 54 that could bring pretty damaging results. Like if going on like this in the future years, this become a trend, then their structure will be changed. Teacher have to be accessed, kind of thing that have to happen. So this is a issue. She mentioned, she's applying to get pre-K, so that's kind of a solution to expand the student body. So this is something I'm curious. I'm not sure if anyone from the district right now online can give a short, explain to us, like what exactly the process to adding pre-K to a school like PS 54. I imagine there might probably some issues, like maybe there's contracts with the private service suppliers or something. So I just want to say if there anything we can do, because I believe this is not only school would have this problem, right? So I mean, District 28, we actually don't have too many school has significant enrollment issue, but some of the, in the city, some are, like ridiculously endangered, school. So this is one thing, I think I like to know better, like why, the adding pre-K is an issue. Is there anything we can help? And on top of that, quickly, I applaud for Sasha Cruz comment on the GNT issue. Two section ago, a council section ago, when David Banks became chancellor, we had a in-person meeting in DOE headquarters, which I think we should have. If we could, we run that would be great. I know the new chancellor had been going around a very busy schedule, meeting people, section by section. But if we have a time, we can sit down. That would be great on top of town hall, right? So more intimate. But at the time we raised this issue, right? So in this district, we used to have old GND program in the north part of the district, which is kind of a supply demand thing, right? But that issue is kind of a drain, like if their parents have the need in the south part of the district, there's not much of a choice. If you guys remember Natifah Lewis, she actually have to send her kids to private school because the commute is just kind of forbiddable. So at the time I raised this issue to the banks, I think we should go back to every school have a program, right? They call it the JNT, call it honor, whatever it is. The key point is, give student a individualized education. So in certain school, to be honest, right? So there's school they're low performance. So if a student not like super talented or whatever, it just meeting grade level would be above the average kids. So those kids may not have the sufficient challenge or teaching in that school because the teacher would focus more on the average student, which are below grade level. So those are things that then those kids would never actually fulfill their potential, right? So later you say, okay, so why those students have potential but didn't fulfill? Why? Because they never give them the thing. So if you meet the single standard, citywide standard, this is the problem. This is the supply demand. There are not enough students to meet the citywide standard to get into JNT. But if you do localize a peer comparison, you could like give certain students a more advanced teaching and certain students a remedy teaching. So even PS 196, when children were there, they do this, right? So they have a morning section, they have a more advanced section and remedy section. My son was taking the remedy because he has a ELA problem. So we go there every morning before the school started. But something formally like that, I think would help. This is one thing. Another thing is we just heard the math curriculum thing. Again, last section we talked when they push the illuminative math curriculum. I expressed my concern. So the idea is, I think Jennifer raised the question, it basically math has been taught for thousands of years, right? And in the current format, just in the current executive format, at least a couple hundred years. To be honest, are you expecting anything come out like magic, that new way to teach that magically change everything? Honestly, right? So I do think we need to be innovative, going forward, but I think it's probably need a very revolutionized approach. All those things nothing new, to be honest, right? When I was a student, I was taught that way by a very progressive teacher, like many years ago. So it's not that new. I personal experience with the negative part of that kind of teaching, which is really hard to fit every student. Okay, that's all I think I want to be processed. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lou. All right, and we're gonna have member Annie Koch to speak.
Hi, Annie here. Thank you, Lou. I like that part. Get right in there. So my report is basically a follow-up what happened last month. So I'm going to start with PS220 here. Really quick is I think I'm going to recap. In December, we notified everyone that we could. Quentin and I just hopped on this email that had 14 people in it. Going forward over Christmas break, they did amazing stuff, and bam, the principal comes back to the working for water fountains, and also additionally plans for more water fountains, and those were actually either going to be implemented or are in the workings. So for a total of 6 working water fountains. They really go push on this and prioritize this. I don't know what happened, but maybe it was that email. That was amazing. I don't know what you did. That scared me a bit. All that power you had behind you. Maybe it was the timing. It was the spirit of the holidays, something to that degree, but everybody got on it. And that was it, teamwork. I'm just happy that I think what it was we all helped the principal. she needed help. And I think sometimes when principals hit a certain time in their career, we're proud to not ask for help. No worries. We're here to help you. She needed it. So, and going forward, I feel like she would probably call on us if she needed more help advocating for a school. On top of that, Sonia, if you're still here, shout out to you. Thank you for all your help. It's FLC CEC28. Can't do this without you. You were in the meeting with me at SLT. We were present. I mean, I didn't say too much, but I think just being there helped a lot, give support, and that is what everybody on the LCT and the principal needed just to move forward. The energy that they put out every single day going to the building is that golden energy that leads to school and leads to community. Okay, and another great thing, CASA funds came through, not from their council member, MIA, James Gennaro, who'd say, don't know where the connection went, but they are not worried because Queensborough President Donovan, he just came through. Funds are there, CASA funds. I found out they're called Cultural After School Adventure Funds, and they're promised to school. Hopefully they come through, and she is all smiles. So Pizarro is happy. Okay, hallelujah. Okay, next we have PS99 here. Finally, Principal Forza decided to let me in the building. I'm harmless. I'm nice. He was a great guy. You know what he was doing this whole time? Busy, doing things that were not outside of what he's doing as a principal. He was crossing kids at the street. Now there's two buildings. There's the main building and the one L-shaped across the street. And the crossing guards kept quitting. They were not paid enough. It was cold. They're not, I mean, I'm sure they're dressed warmly, but they would call in and say, hey, see ya, I can't, without 2 weeks notice. What was the principal do? He's out there crossing kids, and you know this, right, Pepita? So he's like, I was busy. I couldn't meet you. I'm like, okay, no worries. He let me in to 2 buildings. I took about 80 photos of those bathrooms that were dilapidated. That is now top 5 on our SCA list, okay? So I took pictures of every nook and cranny, under toilets, under ceilings, wide angles, everything. That is evidence we need. Photography is what we need to hold everyone accountable to these dilapidated bathrooms. 8 bathrooms? How's that going? We can't have this, right? Alicia made that wonderful presentation. I got, ask you how you want to put it together, but 80 photos, I'm going to file that and we're going to use that for advocacy, So again, he was a very kind principal. He is on his way, headed towards retirement. He's training his staff, making sure that the legacy he's leaving is going to move forward. And Jennifer, you said this very, 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 very well at that shareholders meeting we had a day ago. You said, my time is limited. Their time is limited. If things are done in spans of 5 years, chunk, 5 projects in 20 years as a principal? Come on. They have to go. High five the next person. High five to give them the files. Pass on the things that the work that we do. We're not going to start from scratch. We won't have that time. We'll have to give everyone that recognition. And also, it's like, pay it forward. How can we see change if we can't have accountability and responsibility, right? So here, the next part is, I have so many notes here, but I think overall, I'm keeping track of all my schools here, and I feel like at some point I'm gonna pop back in after the ice melts so that I could check up on everyone. But I'm proud. I'm proud that things are moving along and everyone is doing their job 110%. Hope they don't burn out. That's not what I told them all every time I go to school, ask for help, and we will try to do our best. And that's my goal. And I'll see you all next month.
Thank you, Annie. All right, and let's.
Sounds like Carmine needs to visit that school. Yes. Who was at the meeting?
All right, let us have our next member, Kenya Townsend.
Sounds good. Hello, everyone. Happy Black History Month. So I'm just about 6 months into this position since I started in September, and I'm really spending the time to get grounded in the role and learn a lot of things. I think this is a pretty big learning curve, but I am enjoying myself, and have made it to all of my schools. I still need to make it to some of my SLT meetings. Which I'm hoping to get to. So things are running pretty smoothly for 6 months, and I'm feeling really good about the direction that I'm moving in, and I'm looking forward to continuing the work into the spring with more consistency and care, and I will yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Thanks, Kenya. All right, and next member, Akita Williams.
Okay, great. Okay, good evening, all. Now, I just want to I put together a few notes. So I just want to say that I was unable to visit my school this month due to the bad weather that put a stop to many planned events I had. So I just want to say, moving forward, I hope to meet with Principal Branca, Principal Mack, and Dr. Lusant in the coming month, March. I haven't had a chance to do any SLT or PTA or things like that, but I'm working on that also. So I just want to say I was able to stop by PS 303 this morning and meet our new chancellor. So that was nice. And then I also stopped by 217 just to take another look. So that was nice. A really nice place. Okay. I just want to share this with, I went to a virtual meeting with PS 80, and it was a lot of passionate speakers, you know. Also, it was a lot of, I want to say, in my opinion, or what I felt or what I think, there was a lot of also fear, fear of the unknown, and also some incorrect information shared. But I guess they gotta keep working on it, or keep meeting, and just be open, transparent, keep meeting uh, for that issue. But anyway, I also want to just share, and if I'm not correct, please correct me, but the last day for pre-K and 3K is the 27th of this month, as per our new mayor. So if you have any of little people like myself with a 2-year-old, enroll before it's too late. So I'm not going to hold you. I'm going to say happy Black History Month and happy Valentine's Day and happy birthday to all the Aquarians this month for February, right? And thank you so much.
Thank you, Pakita. All right, and next we'll have our member, Eric Gretsch.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Hopefully. Okay, cool. So I think a few major themes that came out of conversations this month, both mostly with parents and the community. There's been a lot of challenges with snow. I know it doesn't come that frequently anymore, although I wish it would, but just locally within Forest Hills, I know there's a lot of issues with commuting. People have been uncomfortable walking their kids to school. So there's been a lot of traffic and confusion. So perhaps there's some opportunities there to work amongst the CEC here to see how we can improve that situation. I know it's not just at 196, but I've seen it at 303 and others. There's also some sanitation concerns, which I know others have highlighted in respect to garbage pickup, availability, which is kind of negatively impacting the park areas, et cetera. I know we all had different experiences with a remote day. I'd say my personal experience with remote day was quite challenging. The curriculums didn't feel like they were tied down that well, a lot of flexibility, which left the kids kind of in flux. So I don't know if there's opportunities for practices throughout the year so kids are used to the remote learning, or I don't know what's available to us, but something I like to bring up in future sessions. The ICE readiness conversations really, I guess, touched a thread for me. I have very close friends in Minnesota and St. Paul whose kids have gone through this in the last month or so, and I can't stress enough we should have a readiness plan and just an education for the kids as well, because what the kids there have seen and experienced is really hard to understand. And even now, despite things kind of simmering down a little bit, they're struggling with digesting it. So it's something I don't know how we bring forth in terms of kind of readiness, just not at the kind of, I guess, the larger level in terms of, protection, but just how we explain it to our kids. And then lastly, I've been a recipient of some of this, but I know others, parents as well. There's been these attendance notices going out. We did not get 100%, but some concerns among the pre-K and the kindergarteners about a lot of kids missing school because of illnesses, and kind of conflicted about keeping their kids at home versus, getting these notices. So I think some education there as well would be helpful for the parents. And with that, I will yield.
All right, and last we have our newest member, so Cicely Chu.
So I don't have school reports yet, hopefully very soon, but I do want to give some comments and provide some comments on the earlier sessions. I was extremely encouraged by August and Charlie, their presentation. I think they showed great leadership at such a young age, kind of driving initiative at such a large scale. And as CEC members, how can we encourage and enable more of this? I would like to see that, and to see us like having some kind of solution where brainstorm sessions with the members here and empowering parties that can empower these kind of initiatives to drive more. And the second, it was very interesting to see that NYC Soft's presentation. I think it's good to see that we're inventing new ways of thinking and learning, but at the same time, I haven't heard the word AI through the presentation at all. So that kind of triggered me thinking, how are we using AI? How are we using tools to kind of advance our curriculum, right? And the way of educating our kids and the way of learning for our kids. Like I haven't heard a single mention of AI in those presentations. So that kind of made me wonder, like, how are those being incorporated? We are in the age of AI right now, and we should also start thinking about, if not like in the past presentations, or maybe in the future presentations, to hear more about social emotional learning for the kids. Like how do we get them ready for the next 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years down the line, because we don't know what's coming yet in 5 years, right? What kind of jobs or positions will be available, or even what kind of professions will be out there in 10 to 15 years time frame. So I would say a lot of learning for me so far, but I'm also curious to start thinking through like new initiatives or new things that we can drive as a CEC as a whole. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Cicely. And lastly, we have our president, Quentin Meston.
Thank you. I'm not going to reiterate a lot of the stuff that I might have that other members brought up, because you guys are phenomenal. We did have our class size committee meeting, and we have our new member who was added. Jessica Zillow is now an official member of our class size committee. She sent the email, she accepted that. So thank you, Jessica, for joining us on the class size committee meeting, where we're always going to bring transparency. One thing I definitely figured out this month was that D75 has 10 co-locations in our district. That is the most co-locations in any district in Queens. And I'm the D75 rep. So yay, I had a little bit more work to do and emails to send out to all these different D75 co-locations that I just wasn't aware of. And which brought me to realize, and I spoke to the D75 superintendent, that we need to educate our community more about D75, because there are a lot of misunderstandings that's causing a lot of, misinformation being put out there about D75 students, communities, and what D75 actually does. Like, so even when they co-locate a school, it's a beautiful partnership. And I wish everyone saw the beautiful partnerships in the co-located schools, because I've been talking to the principals and the schools, and they have beautiful relationships. And then when new schools are being introduced to a possibility, we have all these fears of all these things that never happened anywhere being proposed as ideas that aren't facts. And it's just like, I'm not mad at anybody. And I just realized that it's not their fault. They're doing the best they can with the information that they have, even if it's limited information or wrong information. But it's not, no one's wrong. So I'm not here to say anybody's wrong. It's what can we do better? Because this is more of a, how can we make this a win-win? And I just see that D75, we just need to explain more of who D75 students are and the impact that they make in these students' lives. We have a lot of D75 families in District 28 that travel the farthest than any other students in any other district to get schooling because we do not have enough locations in our district. So when we get to find a small location to help 30, 40 families, those are our families across the street, down the block, 5, 10 minutes away, that without the right information, we're telling those families, we would rather you travel 45 minutes away with your child on a bus. We would rather put them on a bus an hour away to 2 different districts because we don't want you in our district because, and that's where I stand. Because what? Like, these are our students in our district and our families. That's all I've been hearing a lot of, but then I want to have more conversations because I don't want anyone's voice to feel like they're unheard, because we're listening. And please keep voicing up your concerns and let's address those so we can finally see where we can just have this proposal. If it makes sense, get passed. If it doesn't make sense, I'm all for it. Don't pass it. But if it makes sense for our district, for our families, then let's just make sure we have full transparency and we answer all the questions as these meetings have been doing. So thank you, families that come out on both sides, because I really appreciate all the value you bring. And other than that, we had a phenomenal stakeholders meeting with that was put on by the district office with SCA and DSF. This meeting does not happen ever. Any other district has never had this meeting with so many stakeholders to understand how SCA and DSF work. We met different stakeholders. They gave us their contact information to make sure that we have everything we need to address the concerns that we've been bringing up. We understand better how to review the concerns that are brought up to us and how to address them so we can get the attention that we need. So I want to shout out Carmine. I want to shout out Yvette and all the other members that came from the council on that meeting and asked their phenomenal questions, because that was a huge step forward into accountability, into transparency, so we can move better and we can communicate with our schools and principals better and actually get the results we need. So thank you, district, for putting that together, because that was very amazing. And with my last few seconds, February 26th is Dorinda's birthday, so we just need to give her a shout out because she wasn't going to say nothing.
Well, all the work she does.
And she was just going to act like that's not a holiday this month. So thank you, Dorinda, our administrative assistant, who makes sure that all of this is fine-tuned and we're all smiling and we're fed during break. Appreciate you celebrating another birthday. She's turning 25, so just shout her out in the chat and everything. Thank you. That's my time. Okay, and then as we continue the agenda, I want to give the Spanish interpreters, is there anything in the Spanish interpretation room that wants to be shared? Hold on.
No questions in the Spanish line.
Okay. Thank you. And if there's no other business, awesome. The time is 9:25. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for showing up for our communities and for us all. Stay safe and stay warm. We'll be back in 10 minutes for our business sections.
Missed the Spanish.
All right, the time is 9:44. We are now officially going to start our business section of the agenda today. Recording secretary, please do a roll call.
Okay. First Vice President.
Present.
Lauren Clevin, sorry. Second Vice President Jennifer Sobers.
Present.
Recording Secretary Chantal Chambers, present. Treasurer Alicia Bauer.
Present.
Members Lou Zhao. Annie Koch.
Present.
Kenya Townsend.
Present.
Takeda Williams.
Present.
Eric Gretsch. Okay, back on. All right, and Cicely Chu.
Here.
Thank you. And President Quentin Meston.
Here. He's back.
Okay. All right. Eric Gretsch, present. Okay.
Awesome. So first on our agenda, I would like to call on our first vice president to talk about, to discuss pending absentee forms.
Sorry, there were no absences at last month's meeting.
Beautiful. Next on our agenda, we want to adopt the council meeting minutes with our recording secretary.
Okay, I couldn't see which month it was. All right. This is our December minutes from our calendar and business meeting. Anyone I move that these minutes are accepted.
Second.
All right. And then we'll have our January meeting minutes. All right, here are January minutes. All right, and I make a motion for these minutes to be accepted.
Second.
Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda, I'm going to be calling on our treasurer, Alicia Bauer, for our budget modification.
All right. We have one vacant seat, $375. It is right here. For December, January, and February, reimbursements will be allocated to the P card. It's procurement card. Dorinda can use the P cards for purchases even after the deadline when the budget is closed. Another vacant seat, $250 for December and January. It is now Cecilia's spot. Reimbursements will be allocated to certificates, and Cecily will fill this vacant seat starting in February. It will be right here. And Eric, $875. Eric is here. December through June, 7 months, reimbursements will be allocated to P card. Thank you very much, Eric. And I will show you how it's going to look like right now. So our P card and I have $1,375, and the legislative breakfast is at $4,525. And for everybody, please submit your outstanding reimbursements forms to me as soon as possible. We have a deadline in February. Let me know if you need help with filling them out, and we can do them together over Zoom, in person, however is helpful. And I make a motion to approve this budget with these changes as is. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
I second.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm muted.
That's okay.
You're good. Okay, thank you. And I want to give you an extra thanks, Alicia, because I know how much you do behind the scenes for this budget. Like you are constantly, you made that look so much easier than all the work you do, and we appreciate all that. You've really hit the ground running. I hope you never like just stop. Like just keep going. I know, right? Just keep going. Oh, see all that money flying on Kenya's screen? She know about that. All right.
Done it without during the whole.
Well, couldn't have done without the birthday girl. That's what you said. Got you. All right. Now before we adjourn, I just want to see if we have any new business.
Yeah, I just want to bring up something that I wrote in the member emails about our member reports and the time allotted, and just highlight that our reports as written in the bylaws are not timed. The bylaws only speak to time limits to the public of 3 minutes, and as can be adjusted by the president as needed. So our guests don't have time limits per the bylaws. Dr. Blake's superintendent's report do not have time limits per the bylaws. And we didn't have timers put on Dr. Blake's presentation, nor our esteemed speakers. So to continue to put the timer up on the member reports when the bylaws don't speak to it, I don't agree with it. I think that all of us want to get out on time. There's nobody here who wants to be here longer than is necessary. And so we will do everything we can to be as succinct as possible with our reports. Some months there may be more to say, some months there may be less, and that will balance everybody out. But I think I've never seen it done this way in any of the years previously. It's not necessary. Every member here, I am very, very interested in hearing their reports every month. Everybody comes up with something that is very vital for us as members to hear, as well as the public. So I just like for the timers to be taken down. Thank you. And if we can just talk about it if we want to, or what have you. But I did request in the email that the timers not be put up for me. I think it's not appropriate. But that's what I wanted to say for the new business.
I'm happy to respond to that. One, I think I used to be a parliamentarian for other organizations, and I definitely hear you around it not being the bylaws, and we should definitely make sure that we're on target with that. I also think that it is important to keep to just meetings, not even about like not hearing everyone else, but really just respecting one another in general. Now, I think where the timers thing came from was the fact that we had that the meeting, and then we started using the timers for each of the speakers. And then when I came last time, I was asked to put the timers on, and then today as well, but later in the like it was at different times. I did not see the email, so I would have definitely had a conversation about that beforehand. But I do agree with having time in general, because I do think that it does give people an opportunity to ensure that they are just staying in cadence, because I do think that sometimes people just get nervous or whatever, and they just talk about a lot of things. And typically in parliamentarian practice, it is a time thing, and reports are something that folks send beforehand, read, and then you have discussions about it. And not saying that that's what it has to be here, but that is just like traditional and not I think like personal. So I just wanted to just point that out. And I think I would love to hear what everybody else thinks about it. And maybe it is something that should be looked at with the bylaws about being added or not, just because I do think it's important. And I don't want it to, I get the point of what you're saying too, around some people having more grace than others, but like I didn't do the timer because I wasn't asked earlier. I just didn't think about it. So I just wanted to clarify, plus just add like a little piece of, I guess like where the history of the timer came from. I think we just enjoyed it from the presentations from the schools, and that's sort of like where it happened.
I wanted to say that though we do have we have this space for a limited amount of time. So it's hard not to operate within a time, and it's not to say that what anyone has to say is not important. I think as you both have alluded to, that everything we say is important. But sometimes if the timer is there, the timer is there not to be like, okay, the time is up and you must stop speaking, but just for you to be cognizant of, okay, this is the time that has elapsed while I was speaking. Perhaps maybe not a countdown, but maybe a count up would be better. So that you just have an awareness of how long you are speaking for, so that, because we are operating with a time limit, though we have not really regarded it so far.
Again,
Okay.
You want to go, Makeda? Go ahead.
Yeah, we talk about the
Unmute.
we have bylaws, and sometimes we can look at the bylaws, and amend them. So I just want to say that about the bylaws, we can amend the bylaws. Now, everything we share is important. Everything, every picture we share, every funny story we want to tell, all of that is all good. However, our meetings go on sometimes for a very long time. We are here to share with the community, with the public, not here just with us. And sometimes we have to be mindful. Sometimes people don't want to come to the meeting. Like, oh, shucks, their meetings are 5 hours long. I'm missing Law and Order or whatever. I just want to share that before I got here, I was home and someone said, get on the CEC, go to that meeting. And I'm big with workshops, meetings. And I went to the meeting and, I'm listening, I'm missing Law and Order, but I'm listening and all. And then I went and I laid down and I went to sleep. I woke up and the meeting was still going on. I'm like, well, damn, excuse me, darn, So I just want to, we have to be mindful of the public. We're here giving them, giving them information, And I think sometimes we should just pull it all together. We want the public to stay. We want them to be open to the CEC. We don't want them to say, I'm not going there. And some people say, I'm not going there. That's. So I just want to share that, be mindful. We're in the middle of the week. Be mindful. People still going to work. The kids are still running around. I know when I have at home with a meeting, I'm in my room and the kids are running amok on the machines, it's 8 o'clock, go to bed, So I just want to say we need to be mindful of who we serve. It's not us. Who we serve. It's this way. It's them. Thank you. Thank you for listening. And thank you for all of the comments.
100% agreed with respect to their having to be a time frame. That makes perfect sense. My comment is geared more towards, sure, I've brought it up pretty much ad nauseum now that we have to look at our bylaws. I keep bringing it up, and I'm happy to do that. I think that's something we should have done in the beginning. And if people think that they should be changed or amended, then we can discuss that at a different time. And my point is that as they're written now, there's not this time limit. Would anyone even suggest to Dr. Blake, here, I'm going to put this timer on your face, or to maybe sometimes it's inconsistent. I feel like sometimes we might have had it on presentations. We didn't have it tonight. That's really what my point is that it's just like all of a sudden now there's a timer on us. And I don't think it's necessary, because I think everyone is trying to be as succinct as possible while bringing the information to our constituents and to each other. So I think that perhaps then maybe the better ask is, until we're able to review our bylaws, which I've asked for that to be done perhaps in the summer when there's less things going on, then we just table this whole timer thing. And then we all vow, including me, which I feel like I did try today, and I did do, to be as succinct as possible so that we can get out to our families and be not out, in the cold and what have you. I think we all know that we need to wrap things up. And then just lastly, to speak to the fact that the meeting is going on and our constituents need to look at it. I mean, people will join if they find it helpful, and no one ties anybody down to view the meeting for however long it goes. So if people need to log off, work with children, log back in, that's always available. So I'm not sure necessarily how moved I am about that. I mean, I sat in from many times from the beginning of CEC meetings all the way through the business meetings, and I found them all very helpful. So.
I say that we all became at this point very conscious of this problem. I think we all became aware, right? The lengthy or not updates we give. And I would just give everybody that credit for doing the best they can to communicate and yet not to be rushed. I do know, as far as meeting goes, I keep debating, Chantal, your point from email, should we have end of a meeting time set up? And I know that it's hard for me to say, because I know that there is many serious committees like PAP, CCs, that do have long meetings because they have a lot to talk about, because their presentations have so much value, because there is a lot of information to cover. And to say that it's always finish at 10, probably gonna deprive us of quality time with our constituents. I think we can just be aware, do our best. And, I always have so much information. I already say a lot, but it's not nearly what I have. It's not all of it. And today I was trying to get through my slides, and I forgot Keisha came, from MS to 17. And one of the slides had that, but I didn't sound it out that they want the picture I took of the team in the kitchen. They all of them commute by public transportation, and the busing, with the new schedule for the school year, they all commute much longer. They come from Jamaica, they take buses, and they walk in the 5 a.m, 6 a.m, because kitchen is already serving students at 7 o'clock. They commute through snow, and now it's long and it's dark and they feel unsafe. And they go through all of that, and there are buses on Jamaica Avenue, there is on Queens Boulevard, it's everywhere. And they were asking me to help to return some of this bus. They have a specific list that they wanted to return. And I was so, watching the timer, this piece was important for her to hear that I will put it out, and I didn't. And for only one reason, I was trying to get it done as quickly as possible. So here we go. But I think I wouldn't put timer on our presentations, and I wouldn't at this point create the end of the meeting, because I just don't know what that would be. Is it 10, 10:30, 11? What would that time be? However, I do like the idea of maybe with time, with our experience going through this first year together, maybe we can come up with something at the end.
I think it's prudent, as Jennifer said, to address this via the bylaws. Because I think personally, I like the idea, Chantel, of a counter. Frankly, the timer, the countdown does something to me that I feel doesn't add anything positive to what I'm trying to convey. So I think we absolutely need to be mindful of the time, and I appreciate, because that's not how my brain works. So Kenya, I really appreciate what you shared about how it's done in other settings, and that's important to think about. But I do think that this might I really did not appreciate last month that just being it felt like it should have been a discussion and not just something that was decided and we were told, right before the meeting. And I don't, that was for no other reason. There was no malintent there that I know, but I would really like that we address this through a review of the bylaws. I think that makes the most sense. As any sort of change in the way that we've been doing things I think it makes the most sense to address it that way in the name of fairness and, I don't know, just good practice. But I do think I think, we can time ourselves. I think that count up, I might do that on my phone next time, just so I'm aware, because we can all talk. We all know how to do that. But I don't want any of us to be curtailing our presentations. That it's what I look forward to. I want to know what you've all been up to and what you're thinking, what's going on. I don't want it also either to be limited to, what we can submit in advance, because I'd like us to also be able to be responsive to whatever goes on in the meeting. If we have public comment, that brings up an issue that we hadn't been prepared to address, I think it's important to be able to be nimble in that way. And I have faith in us that we can come together and address this through the bylaws. I think it might be spicy, but it'll be fun and we could do it.
Noted. Okay, so one thing that was brought up was that we can also just put our reports together. We could type it up, we could print it out, or not print it out, but we could submit it and put it on our website. So we can all express whatever we want to express, and we can have our website. We could send it to Dorinda, and she could put it in a section where the district already does that. So we'll be right next to the district with their reports. We'll have our reports. So it's one way that if we do have so much information that we want to get out, but we just don't know if we have time, we could address that. We also have a permit here. So we're right now like extending, going to the end of our permit that we paid for, it's allotted for in a certain way. So regardless if we want to sit here till midnight, we can't, because of the permit that has the security that will come up here and be like, guys, like get out of here. We don't want to get kicked out because we want to extend our voice and something that we could always share later, or we can just bullet point it. We're all grown. We're all adults. We're all grown. No one's telling anybody not to do something. But if we relook at any of our council meetings, we could just relook, go on the website and just look and say, I just watched myself do my council report. Do I feel that I could have summarized that in this area? Do I feel that I had some run-on sentences? Do I feel that I could have planned this better? intentionally and presented it in a way that had a introduction, a body, and a conclusion. I'm not telling anybody to do that, but just to be that intentional if it's something that we're worried about. Just like in school, we practice different things to memorize, to say, we can do that here. This is something we do. Like Alicia, she looks like she's the most prepared in any of the notes because she has her presentation, she has her slide. As soon as you click, it's just something that she takes the time beforehand. So it's something that we all can do. So that's something that I was noticing. But if it's something about the stuff on the agenda, like we get a lot of love that we have a principal coming to it. If we want to start cutting from our agenda, from the principal, from STEM, from different things that we put on there, so we can have more time just to get here and stay in the time lot, then just think about, is that what we're trying to do? Is that what we're trying to say? That we want to take away stuff that's highlighting our district because we want to point out our couple liaison schools in a brief report that some might care about, some might not, but we still want to share it because a lot of people care about everything, to take away from other parts of the agenda. So that's just something we could take notice on. And back on the bylaws, I am the bylaws chair. The bylaws meeting was something that we were talking about a lot of times, that I intentionally was like, let's wait till the end of the year, closer, when everybody was seasoned and sitting in this seat more so they can have a better view and understanding. And I don't mind going to the bylaws. Our second vice president, Jennifer, brought this up many times, and we've always went back and forth about, let's see how we can do this. Bylaws were set to guide us. So they weren't set to be like, oh my gosh, I need to be this by the T. It was set as a guidance, and we do it as we see fit. But if for that guidance, we need to now, just like we just did on the resolution, put some verbiage in there to make everyone feel comfortable and safe, then we could do that. At our bylaws meeting that's coming up in the next couple months after we have all these other things, we can edit it and then really specify these specifics, so then we won't have to have this conversation again and we could just move forward with other things.
Yep.
But everybody's voice is always heard and valued here, and I appreciate that. And Kenya, is your hand up? All right, so after Kenya, if we could just table everything till like the chat or an email, that would be great. But go ahead, Kenya.
Thank you. I did want to just offer that I think I hear what everyone is saying, and I literally was going to say the same thing, that the bylaws are not like things that are set in stone. They're suggestions about how we should do things. It doesn't mean that I disagree with that's okay. You can disagree. It doesn't mean that it isn't the case. But either way, that's what bylaws are for. And so we can have conversation. There are plenty of things that we do that are not in the bylaws. I don't think that the bylaws say for us to be in WhatsApp. I don't think it says that we order pizza, right? There's just so many things that we don't do. And so I just want to make sure that when we're talking about rules, I think people tend to, in general, not like you all in particular, but people tend to use bylaws as a way to enforce something that they may not agree with. And I think that's okay. And we still can figure out how to, manage. And maybe it is every other month we don't do a presentation so folks can feel like their voices are heard, because I also understand and feel like that's a need for folks to be able to do that. But I also think when I came here in my 6 months and all the meetings and organizations I've gone to, this is the most not sort of like structured way of doing things. Like even when it's like do a report, I don't even know what the topic of the report is, right? It just seems like people are choosing, there's a flood in my school and I want to talk about there being a flood versus we're all XYZ. And so to me, I would love for us to have the bylaws meeting and have a conversation around what that looks like. I feel like, I don't know if it's you all as the president first and second that does the agenda, but I don't know what happens with that. Like, I don't know how we get to the agenda. So I think there's a lot of ways of us talking about how the meeting can be pared down. And as a person that has ADHD, I just want to say that like, it is really hard for me to sit here for hours and hours. And I've already, said A, B, C, D through in my head to try to get through 50, 11 people's reports about things that I'm honestly zoned out about. And I do not think that it is just me. I'm pretty sure that that's why some people don't go to meetings. We're in a space where post-COVID, our attention span as people is really in a different space. And I think we need to acknowledge that and be real about where we are. And maybe it's about us having a meeting here and having a separate meeting. I know there's tons of subcommittees. I feel like that hasn't done. Maybe that's another space where we can have these conversations that are really important. So I think it and require like a retreat or something for us to talk about some of these really big issues around agenda planning, what makes sense. And I know that we've also all been doing our best with the add and drop on of like people joining. So I think that I would love, just for me, I would love to know what that looks like so we can all be on the same footing and get out of here at a decent time. And that's it. Thank you.
That being said, the time is 10:14. This meeting, oh, Alicia. All right, Alicia.
Sorry, guys. This is first time I've ever heard that
Unmute,
This is first ever place I've been to that people believe that bylaws is a guide, that it's not the law, it's bylaws. You have to follow it as it's written. I've been a PTA president. I'm Title I district chair, Title I chair at the school. I'm SLT, part of SLTs and DLTs. The bylaws always treated extremely serious. What is written has to be followed. What is not in it, that's open for interpretation. But I am very surprised, honestly, to hear that here bylaws seem to be just a loosey-goosey document that we can just guides us, we can follow or not. It must be followed. I have no idea how we can, I guess, walk around it.
The bylaws, there's plenty of like books and things that was this and talk to other parliamentarians, there's organizations, and they can give you more.
But what happens when we don't follow bylaws, right?
Hold on. Like, we don't gotta talk over each other. We have our face representative. We all were elected through face, and we're all under the guidelines. So, Tamika, if you don't mind, could you give us a summary of what we're saying? Do we have anything you want to add or just confirm? Yes.
So the bylaws is there to guide council. If there's something within your bylaws that you would like to amend, that's why you have the option of having the bylaws committee to talk about that. And the bylaws is like, what you put in your bylaws should not supersede the chancellor's regulations, right? And state law. So I know councils that have timers on council members for report out. Because it can be can draw longer conversations just time to ensure that you do get out on time, because I see in 68 I used to have didn't end until 12 a.m. So that's because people were had a lot to say, and and we had but yeah, the bylaws is there to really guide the council, right? So whatever you put in your bylaws as your agenda, start from the president's report, the report out, like though you should be following your bylaws. That is your guide for your meetings as well. You have a parliamentarian, they should also support in the guiding of what is in the agenda. I think Jennifer had sent something one time in regard to like moving things around on the agenda. But if someone can make a motion to say, let's move item number 3 down to number 5. And if the council agrees, that's fine. If it's something that you guys want to put in place, moving forward, and you see that it's an issue, then you should be amending your bylaws. But your bylaws is the guide, is your guide to the functions of this council.
Well, does it have to be everything that's in it has to be followed?
It should be followed.
Sure.
It should be followed.
And
so if you have a meeting and public speaking time is 3 minutes or 2 minutes, that is what it is. Unless you guys agree to extend that time, and then amend your bylaws to add additional time. As you guys said, we all adults, right? And so you, as those, you could limit your time and your speaking time. But if you do have a lot to say, like I suggested to another council, put your report onto the website where people can review it and give a brief overview. But it's something that is detailed that you need to speak about, request that time to extend an additional minute or 2.
Corporations can be sued.
for
Awesome.
its bylaws are legal binding.
I do like the
Awesome.
idea that Kenny said that what our report's actually supposed to look like.
That
When
is
first
true.
time,
Yeah.
when the first month, when my name was called, it's like, hey, Alicia's report, and I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Well,
Me too.
Like, what do I say, right? I think that is a good question. What are we
Okay.
supposed- what
So
are we
we're
supposed to
we're
look
gonna.
like?
Is it a question that right?
A guide for those questions you ask. In the beginning, we had the paper and it would say, well, what do you like about your school, principal? Or like this paper. For new, when you're new, don't we have this?
Yeah.
They just ask basic questions in the
So
beginning.
no,
And
I
as
totally
far
agree.
as in the beginning.
So
What?
I agree. Can we table this conversation to an email? Yes, because the Bible does not say anything. So we're going to. Yes. Yeah, let's back up. So wait, 10:20. Thank you, Dorinda. You can stop the recording. This meeting is adjourned.